I work, but I got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny. Deep up in my mind I manifest it. Every morning I wake up obsessed, and everything I do the best. And deep within my mind, you know I'll always manifest it.
Welcome to my Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick. Ooh, what a day today. What can I say? It wasn't good and it wasn't bad, but still not good. I had my MRI done today. Yay! Early this morning. First patient on the machine. And it kind of doesn't look good. I'm definitely gonna have to see a surgeon and definitely gonna have to have surgery. Just don't know when I'm going to do it. That I will have to discuss with the surgeon and then come up with a time frame when to do it and what's the recovery gonna be and all that good stuff. I got lots of doctor's appointments lined up, so I've been pretty bombarded with that. The weather hasn't been helping at all with this rain, and it's just not good. I'm just not feeling good, and I know I'm not going to feel good for a while, because the rain usually makes me feel worse. But we got a lot to go over. Well, not a lot, but a good amount of videos to go over today, and I think it's very important that we do this right away because I don't know how long. I would like to be out here for like 2 hours, but 2 hours means 3 hours. We'll see. Yo, what's up, Terry? What's up, Albie? How you guys doing? You know what? Let's get right to it because we got some news to watch. So let's not hesitate anymore. Let's get right to it. Set this up. Here we go.
Well, we begin with breaking news and a tragedy out of California today. 8 of the 9 skiers missing since an avalanche yesterday near Lake Tahoe. have been found dead.
The staggering death toll makes this the deadliest ski-related avalanche in U.S. history. The skiers had been part of a group of 15 on a 3-day expedition in a recreational area near Castle Peak in the Sierra Nevadas. One person is still missing.
Joe Torres is in the newsroom with the very latest. Joe.
Liz and David, this is not the kind of history anyone wants to be a part of. The deadliest U.S. avalanche in nearly half a century. A pair of rescue teams in California today found the bodies of 8 backcountry skiers after they got trapped in an avalanche in the mountains near Lake Tahoe. Yesterday was the final day of a 3-day trek for 11 skiers and 4 guys.
One's still missing.
Who ventured out into the remote and rugged terrain there because of the extreme weather conditions, which included heavy snow, gale force winds. It took about 50 highly skilled rescuers roughly 6 hours to reach the skiers. They ultimately found a half dozen sheltered but injured survivors, 1 man and 5 women, ranging in age from 30 to 55 years old. The rescue teams got all of them to safety, but today authorities confirmed 8 of the missing 9 skiers died. They're still looking for 1 individual, but Mother Nature is not cooperating.
Nah, they're not going to find that person right away.
As well as our search for the remaining skier. But the weather is a factor. It's not a resource issue as we speak.
It's not like crazy.
Conditions, a weather condition and safety condition for our response teams.
Now, authorities said the rescue teams found the 8 victims fairly close together. 3 of those who died were guides on the trip. And again, because of the extreme weather conditions, the rescue teams have yet to remove the victims from the mountainside. David and Liz, another update for you coming up at 5 o'clock.
Just such a tragedy.
Yes,
Joe.
dreadful.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to find the last one. The last one, I feel like he's not going to be rescued. It's just impossible. It's already been over 36, almost 48 hours probably since this thing happened. Yeah, they're not gonna find him alive. All right, let's keep it moving. Got some good stuff going on over in Iran. Let's check this out. BP Earthwatch.
February the 18th, 2026. Guys, we've been watching this tension going back and forth between the U.S. and Iran and Straits of Hormuz getting, closed down temporarily over missile exercises. Well, now Tehran has announced, and they announced it even to NOTAM, but they're going to have live missile launches across certain areas of the nation tomorrow. And so it's basically a no-fly zone there. And I noticed that Congress, probably the Democrats and the rhinos, are trying to get a bill passed or pushing it to stop Trump from acting in any kind of military aspect, as far as calling a war, calling a strike on whatever, you might take out some of their Venezuelan.
Especially if it's
people.
national security.
You understand what I'm saying? Anyway,
I don't trust Congress.
It's not working because right now we're seeing reports. I don't think mainstream here in the U.S. is reporting it, but it looks like military bases in Iran and military type warehouses and locations are being hit as we speak. This came in a few hours ago. It says smoke rises over over Paran near Tehran after blast heard. And this is what I was talking about. Just over an hour ago, Iran issues NOTAM warnings of planned rocket launches on Thursday. Iran has issued a notice to air missions, NOTAM, and indicating planned rocket launches across parts of southern Iran on Thursday between 3:30 and 13:30 GMT. So about 10 hours there, most of the day or most of that time. Anyway, their airspace is slightly open right now. If you look, when we're going to look at the live air traffic maps, but it's not. You can still tell that the major air traffic lanes are going either south of there or north of there. There's a little bit right up around Tehran, and a couple of other jets are larger jets, but they're not going to. Of course, these air traffic maps, guys, and these trackers. There's a lot of stuff that gets turned off during a wartime or war movement, and that's understandable. But there's a little more going on than what we think. Now, that explosion I showed you was just one of many. Again, another angle of a different explosion. That's what they're hearing, the explosions. They're seeing the fires go down. Again, military bases and military-type warehouses and support areas. Again, I haven't seen much as far as the mainstream media anywhere really talking about this, but Reuters is saying 6 hours ago, notice your time today, from Dubai, a fire broke out in Iran near the city. There's not a lot of information coming out, but this is from Reuters. This is coming out of Dubai today, February 18th. It says fire breaks out near Iran's capital, Tehran, state media says. And what they're trying to say is that it was a grass fire. You saw the big column of black smoke, plus the reports from the cell phone users that were capturing this, saying it was a very loud explosion. Now, there may be some grass fires because of that, but again, it's part of misinformation during the smoke of war, you may want to call that. But it said, again, the fire broke out in Iran's Tehran near the capital city of Tehran. State media reported on Wednesday, publishing video of smoke rising over the area, which is close to several military and strategic sites in the country's Tehran province. Again, guys, I think Trump has just started coming down on this thing. Also, I mentioned the island Garcia, Diego, and that Britain is trying to give it away and say it's going to be leased out. But then when Trump and his administrators went and talked to the UK Prime Minister, they said he mentioned a fictitious name that it was leased to. And that's very strategic. That's where the planes were launched from there, and aircraft carriers that took out Tehran's nuclear site. Remember hitting the underground bunkers and stuff? Anyway, that's how strategic it is. So Trump is saying, to hell with that. And this is from Donald Trump, and he's talking about Prime Minister Keir Starmer of the UK. I think it was yesterday, guys, I saw information that he was already starting to implement Sharia law to a very large extent there in the UK.
What?
Maybe that's why we're seeing some Hollywood freaks of nature move back to the U.S. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, they're
he's saying that this lease is no good. He says Starmer is making a big mistake by entering a 100-year lease with whoever it is that is claiming that right, title, and interest to Diego Garcia, strategically located in the Indian Ocean. Our relationships with the UK is a strong and powerful one, and it has been for many years. But Starmer is losing control of this important island by claims of entities never known before. And so what we're looking at, guys, is Europe has collapsed because of mass migration and very poor leadership. Now we're starting to see it creep over. I said once you get a few cities involved in any nation that is taken over that way, like New York is going to be, it's going to creep pretty fast. And so that's something you got to keep an eye on, any nation you're in, right? But he says, our relationship has been good, but he's losing important control of the important island by people that he claims and they think are fictitious. Should Iran decide not to make a deal, it may be necessary for the U.S. to use Diego Garcia and the airfield located in Fairford in order to eradicate a potential attack by a highly unstable and dangerous regime. He's talking about Iran there. But, it makes me wonder with these European leaders and how they've devolved instead of evolving, will their military follow them? Because it looks like they are totally against the U.S., and we got a couple of battles on our hands in that area, of course, Iran and the other fires that are being started from Israel and other places. But if Europe decides to get into this, then it's going to be a terrible mistake for them, but it could be a problem for us too. First thing that would happen Russia would completely take over what little is left of Ukraine. because the European attention would be pushed south instead of towards the east. And I don't think they're going to be very happy. Depends on the close. We know that Iran and China and Russia have a deal going on, right? But I don't think either one of those guys really care about Iran. They care about the oil, because a lot of oil goes to China right now. Russia has other strategic interests in that area. But would they step forward into a battle against the U.S.? I don't know about that. But we got some fools in the U.K. that may. And you're talking about a world war, right? They're saying that an attack that would potentially be made on the United Kingdom as well as other friendly countries. Prime Minister Starmer should not lose control for any reason of Diego Garcia by entering a tenuous, at best, 100-year lease. This land should not be taken away from the UK, and if it is allowed to be, it will be a blight on our great ally. We will always be ready, willing, and able to fight for the UK, but they have to remain strong in the face of wokeism and other problems before them. Do not give away Diego Garcia, capital letters. Now, we just talked, I saw a report from Hegseth and Vance, and they were talking about the UN and partners of the United States and stuff like that. But their point was this right now. All of you guys in the UK, all of you leaders, you're very weak. You have very little control. Your nations hate you. You're not a strategic partner to us. You're not capable of being, even if you wanted to be. So before we're going to stand here, give you money and defend you, you build your countries up to be powerful enough to be a reverse partner to us. In other words, get it together or get lost. Guys, a couple other images of the area. And again, they're saying the main fire, the first explosion was near the strategic military points, as you hear my Huskies playing in the background. Now, this map is very interesting, guys. It's showing aircraft movement. It's not a top secret. Anyone can get the software to show this, but these are U.S. military aircraft. This is Rome, Paris, Europe, Berlin's here. You can see them here, and headed this way, guys. Check that out. A lot of them. They know something's about to go on. I think we got more naval capacity in that area. And it's almost like they're being prepared or maybe over-prepared for just a run. Are they looking at other possibilities? And with Stormer, guys, going back to the UK, that nightmare, guys, I feel sorry for the people that live there.
It's lost.
Anyway, it looks like some of these aircraft are coming out of England. This is Birmingham right there, and we have an air base there, maybe more than just one. So how is that going to play out if we get into a conflict because of Stormer, or if Russia does what they said to the UK, that we will sink you in the ocean if you keep up your crap sending ammunition to Ukraine or soldiers or anything else. They said, we will sink you. Now, of course, that would be probably a submarine with a nuclear warhead on it.
That's the only way.
Torpedo or something. But anyway, we're still using that base.
If they do that, that'll be the end of Iran.
At flight radar, you can again see you got a northern route and a southern route that pretty much bypasses Iran right now. Let's pull this up just a little bit. There's Iraq there. You've got a line of aircraft coming in here. You notice that? So things are happening. Anyway, you've got a few aircraft. All of this is listed as commercial flights, whether it's partial delivery or human delivery. No military aircraft are on this live site, which is just fine. But some of those, again, the images you just saw were copied from earlier, but just not a lot of air traffic there. You can see that opening like a big football right here. So we may be at the very start of this. There's different reports of multiple explosions. We're watching it, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.
All right, and let's keep it moving.
Right now is the update about the fishing vessel that sank off the coast of Massachusetts.
Another one?
Search and rescue effort, it has now concluded. We are now into phases 2 and 3 of this situation. And as the situation develops, it may be that there are additional phases, but we are here today to talk to you about phases 2 and 3. And phases 2 and 3 encompass an incredible multi-agency reconnaissance effort, investigation effort, one the likes of which is rarely seen with regard to collaboration between federal, state, and local governments. And it's one that is very helpful and consoling to us.
Oh, they're dead
in
too.
this very difficult time of loss for our community.
Man, so many people are just dying off of these fucking boats going
not
out.
only in New England, but throughout this country and beyond. But we are consoled by the effort of everyone who is involved
Crazy.
at coming to the aid of this community at this difficult time.
This one's a boat that sunk off of Maine.
The Commonwealth of Massachusetts. We'll hear more in just a little while about the resources that our state government is providing.
The fishing boat that went down in Massachusetts, and now you have another one that
to the task at hand
sunk
and those resources would not be
off
available
of Maine.
Without the commitment of the Healy-Driscoll administration and their partnership with all of us. And so to begin this afternoon, we're going to hear from our governor, Maura Healey, whom we're deeply, deeply grateful to for her support, not only in providing resources, but for providing her heart.
Her heart.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank Leader Bruce Tarr for his consistent and compassionate leadership over the last 3 weeks, 3 very difficult weeks. And I want to thank you, Bruce, for all that you continue to do. You know, Leader Tarr mentioned the partnership, and I've never seen anything like this. And I just want folks to know and have confidence in the excellent coordination between and among state, local, and federal agencies and departments. And I thank each and every one of you here today for that effort. I'm grateful to Captain Frederick and Lieutenant Commander Igo from the Coast Guard for their efforts. We have investigators from NTSB, leaders from NOAA, thank you. To our local leadership, Mayor Lundberg, and all of the City of Gloucester officials, Tony Gross, City Council President, Chris the Harbor Master, a lot of people here deeply personally affected and also professionally at work right now. To the fishing community, Vito Giacalone and the Gloucester Fishing Community Preservation Fund.
Crazy, man.
All you
so
guys,
many
thank you
things
for
going
everything
on at the same time.
To JJ Bartlett of the Fishing Partnership Support Services, an incredibly important partner in all of this. I'm joined today by our Fisheries and Wildlife Commissioner, Tom O'Shea, Deputy Commissioner and former Gloucester Mayor Safatia Romeo-Pankin also has been involved. Colonel John Monahan of the Massachusetts Environmental Police is here. I also appreciate the efforts of Division of Marine Fisheries, Dan McKernan, our director, as well as all the team there at DMF. In particular, I just want to shout out both the Massachusetts Environmental Police, you'll hear from Colonel Monahan, but also the Massachusetts State Police. The Massachusetts State Police has an underwater recovery team, and we're joined by Lieutenant Daniel Popovich and Trooper Rob McAleese, who have done really important and continue to do really important work in this effort. I want to begin by sharing both my condolences and support for the family. I also want to share with them that over the last 3 weeks, I've heard so much about their loved ones, who they are as people, how much they were loved, how much they loved the work that they were doing.
Oh my God, just get to the fucking point.
Courageous people to take to the seas in conditions like we see throughout the winter.
It was off of Maine.
You know, we heard a lot about the skill and the expertise of these folks. And so to the families,
this is the governor of
and
Maine,
Paul Jr. and John Freeman, Sean, Jada, all lost aboard the Lily Jean. My heart goes out to each and every one of you. I also want you to know, as I've said before, that the state of Massachusetts
between both boats
stands with you and will stand behind you in the days, months,
ridiculous,
and years ahead.
you know?
This
We need
tragedy
to have better
is not
safety
one,
measures
unfamiliar
for
to
these
the people of
boats.
Gloucester, sadly. We've seen this through generations. This is a significant loss of life, though, this particular Lily Jean tragedy. And, you know, the more we learn about them, the more we come to deeply appreciate what these men and women represent. They represent the heart and the soul of the fishing community and really the state of Massachusetts. And the way we support them now is by standing with them, standing with this community and supporting their families. To the families, I cannot begin to understand what it's like to experience the grief that you're experiencing, not only with the tragic loss and sudden loss of your loved one, but also the circumstances. And the reality right now is we have a situation where we essentially have a grave out at sea.
Dead.
And that is a very, very difficult situation for all of these family
How
members.
much was the other one? The other one had almost like the same amount, or probably less. I think it was like
and we understand
or
that.
something.
And I just want you to know that we will be clear with communication and our efforts to support you in this time. I also want you to know I've heard from people across the state. I've heard from premiers from the Eastern Canadian provinces, all extending their prayers and their love
to Nova Scotia,
you families, and to this fishing community. So everyone here is committed to keeping everyone informed, making sure
I would like to go to Nova
what you
Scotia.
need.
I've never been to Nova Scotia.
As I say, federal, state, and local agencies are working hand in hand. They have been the last 3 weeks, bringing all of their expertise and technology to bear. I can tell you that MEPs, which is our environmental police, their side scan sonar team has been actively assisting
And I would like to go up
with
there.
the recovery operations.
That has to
with
be in the
equipment
summer.
used to scan the ocean floor. And as I mentioned, the state police underwater recovery team has been supporting this effort since the very beginning. Again, I just want to recognize the entire fishing family and community of Gloucester. I also want to extend gratitude to the grief counselors.
I've been to Gloucester.
Those providing the support services, to clergy and to community members, many of whom know and have direct personal experience with tragedies like this. I want to thank everybody who's stepped forward to help in these very, very difficult days. And most of all, I want families to know you have my commitment and our
These
support
boats
and the
need to be
support of the
like
state. And
inspected
the
properly.
devotion that you have for your loved ones will be matched
How
by
the
the
hell are
continued
these boats
support,
sinking
I
like
promise,
that?
of all of us up here. Thank you, and I'll turn it back to Leader Tar.
Thank you so much, Governor. We are going to, in the next phases of this conversation, provide to you information about what is an unprecedented effort to be able to locate the fishing vessel Lily Jean and to be able to provide families with the kind of information they need to even begin to approach closure. One of the most haunting things about grief with a loss at sea is the uncertainty, the not knowing, the wondering. What happened? Why did it happen? Where is the vessel? Answering those questions takes an extraordinary amount of effort, and that effort is being provided by the local, state, and federal government. So we're going to get into the details of that so that you can understand the intensity of the effort. But I want to make one point clear right up front, and that is that there are multiple forms of investigation happening right now.
That sucks, man. 7 lives gone in an instant. Keep it moving.
The hunt for Nancy Guthrie continues. Right now, investigators
this is the Nancy one.
genealogy test to track
Terry,
down new
here you
leads
go.
on her whereabouts after DNA tests failed to find a match on the glove recovered near her home. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Kaylee McEnany. Here's my co-hosts, Harris Faulkner and Emily Campagno. Also joining us, Kellyanne Conway, Fox News contributor, president of KA Consulting, and former senior counselor to President Trump. and Jeremy Hunt, Veterans on Duty chairman and former Army intelligence captain. Well, it is day 18, and there are still no signs of Nancy Guthrie. Local sheriff now shedding light on what he believes are the circumstances of her disappearance. Here's what he told our own chief correspondent, Jonathan Hunt.
I believe it was a kidnapping, but I'm not the one investigating this. I have a team of some very qualified, very hardworking young men and women.
This guy's a fucking idiot. You're the
theory,
fucking captain.
their theory
You're
would
the
be
sheriff.
out there because they.
What do you mean you're not?
And you
investigating
believe it's a kidnapping?
I believe it was a kidnapping.
Targeted kidnapping.
Yes, I believe whoever did that knew what they were up to.
He says he's determined to find Nancy, telling NBC News, quote, "As long as we have the ability to chase a lead, it's not cold."
I don't
He
trust
shared a
that guy.
similar message to the New York Times. Notice the word he uses. He says, maybe it's an hour from now, maybe it's weeks or months or years from now.
What?
But we won't quit. We're going to find Nancy. We're going to find this guy. Emily, this advanced DNA testing, or the newer DNA testing that is being used, because we know there wasn't a hit on CODIS, there is some hope here. And I want to pull up some of the cases that have been solved with newer DNA testing: the Idaho murders, the Golden State Killer, Bear Brook murders, and William Talbot II. And the Koberger, one of the investigators, said there that the advanced genomic sequencing could build a detailed profile for genealogical databases crucial for solving this case.
Well, the distinction between some of the cases that you had on the screen there, Kaylee, is timing. So you had the Golden State Killer, that was 2018. Now, since then, there have been multiple lawsuits and a whole privacy movement that has resulted in these DNA genetic match websites closing their profiles, having the default be to not share the genetic profiles with law enforcement. So overnight, it went from millions of potential DNA profiles to do this genealogical familial mapping out to thousands. So I believe, while I too am optimistic about this case in general, yes, the public needs to understand that for them to be on board with, to support, to be part of this kind of necessary tracking for cold cases and for urgent cases like this, you have to toggle it on to share with law enforcement. Now, in the past, there's been sort of a narrative that it was an overbroad, deceptive pursuit by law enforcement, that everyone's DNA would be splashed everywhere and families would be, sort of held culpable. Nothing was further from the truth. It is, as you know, targeted, very specific subpoenas and requests. And those mapping out oftentimes were done over years on butcher block paper by the good men and women of law enforcement. So for this to be more efficacious, please toggle your profiles on and understand the reality that it's not just easily done in 30 minutes like we see on shows on TV. It's a lot worse. And by the way, quick point about that sheriff. I hope that there's a PR class in the making, because it is abysmal how he is managing the PR and the communications of this case.
I agree with that entirely. The PR has not been, let's say, above board. There's been a lot of conflicting messages. And I listened to this message, and you hope that maybe they have a suspect in mind. The way with Koberger, yes, it took 40 days to lead to the arrest, but they had the suspect in mind before. Well, Sheriff Nanos was asked about whether there's a pool of suspects. Here's what he said to Jonathan Hunt.
We haven't narrowed it down to anything other than we have certain pieces of evidence that we're looking at to try to find this individual, whether it be DNA, whether it be that Ring camera video, whether it be evidence at a Walmart that might lead us to somebody.
This Harris, it makes me think there's not even a pool of suspects here.
Well, look, I do find this interesting. After all that they've done, and I thought about the Privacy Act that Emily was just talking about, those laws especially, they now are going back to Google, the owner of Nest, and they're going to try to see what else they can glean. Jonathan Hunt was reporting that in the Faulkner Focus last hour. And, my whole question is, do they have more that they think they can get to, and Google just cannot share it? Like, where are we in that process? That's not going to make or break the case, but it will answer those people who are worried about the fact that this is looking like maybe we got to wait for a while. When he says the word years, yeah, I can kind of see why you might want to give this guy some communications gifts. But look, he was transparent about it. So I guess we're grateful for that part. I do want to know what else they think they can get from that doorbell, because the doorbell cam is gone. So what was left behind more than what we already have? And that's been such a pinnacle. It's so important in this case. That's been really critical. So if they have more, let's see it.
So maybe the communications was imprecise, or maybe there is a pool of suspects. because there is this interview that took place with a co-owner of a gun shop about the sheriff and the law enforcement that approached him. Listen to what the co-owner of this gun shop said.
He started asking me questions about if anybody had, well, he actually had given me a list, a paper list of people that had pictures and names on it. And he wanted to know if I could help him pull up in my system if any of these people have purchased a gun in the last year. I felt bad for the family, and honestly, anything that could help them find the person, I was willing to help. So I said that I'd be willing to help.
So Jonathan, if there are pictures and names, then there are people that are in mind.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, as more information comes out, I think we'll see more kind of what's going on. Right now, it's just little smoke and mirrors for the American people. I do worry about, the amount of eyeballs that are on this case. I mean, millions of people are watching this, even in my own life, and I'm texting friends like, have you heard this? And, it has totally gripped our country in a way. And I worry about what is the message that's going to be at the end of this. And my hope is that the message to elderly and vulnerable people that, look, if something happens to you, we will go to the ends of the earth to get you back home. We are going to make sure, we will stop at nothing to make sure you are okay. And I also hope that the message to the perpetrators, any monstrous people out there, evil, depraved people out there, the message to them is, look, you will not get away with this. If you even think about harming vulnerable people in our country, elderly people in our country, we will go to the ends of the earth to bring you to justice. That's the message that I hope is at the conclusion of this. And right now, all we can do is pray for the best.
Absolutely. Kellyanne, and NBC News was reporting that the sheriff said that he had seen a surveillance photo that he believes might have captured the jewelry that the individual had, maybe a ring on the hand. And it made me think, are there additional surveillance photos, or did I miss something because it was hard to see with the glove?
It certainly is possible. So far, this is talk about gripping the nation. The man at the door who sees that he's being caught at the door is probably the biggest lead that we've all seen. And so I do think there will be internet sleuths that can help with that. And there's no question. I want to go back to what everybody has said, which I agree with completely. I think what people need to understand, Kaylee, about the genetics and genealogy testing, which is just different than basic genetic testing, is that it can apply not just to high profile cases where you're a child of the allegedly kidnapped Nancy Guthrie, I believe the sheriff. We pray for her safety in her life. It's not just when your daughter is known or a celebrity high profile. This can help many different cases, and it actually reduces the chance of mistaken identity, that you have the wrong person, because our genealogy and our genetic makeup are so unique to us. So it actually does something that the criminal field couldn't do years ago. The other thing just to say here is that I know it sounds so simple, and we're all guilty of this, but in addition to making sure elders know that they're cared for, there are so many basic things we can do without violating each other's privacy that does give us that extra level of comfort. I don't love cameras being everywhere, but in this case, it probably will help us crack the code. One last thing on the sheriff. I wish he hadn't said, Kaylee, that I don't have a pool of suspects. I always give the benefit of the doubt to people who are handling sensitive information, that they do know things that we cannot, and they should know things that they should not disclose. We worked in the White House together. You know it writ large at a place like that. Like, no, we don't need to tell the country everything right now out of protection for them or protection for the innocent. I just wish he wouldn't say so much. He can say, I can't comment on that. And we'd all feel better that they're working assiduously toward finding a pool of suspects.
Can I add one thing? I wonder if we will get to the point in this society where we are more comfortable with face recognition AI. I mean, other countries are utilizing this. China's very well known for it. They go after their own people that way. But in this instance, if you had that, it would be really hard for that person to leave that driveway, because we know that it's dark and there weren't cameras everywhere. But then how does he get off the street? And it sees so much. And I'm not advocating for a lack of privacy, but we're already putting so much out there every time we shop online. I'm just wondering, do we get to that point? It's just a question.
It's an interesting conversation, because I was covering yesterday, Iran uses that facial recognition to literally go after protesters.
The protesters,
but you're exactly right. Every time you look at your iPhone, your facial profile is there. If you use
That's how the phone opens.
I used it at the airport this morning, and obviously
You use the touchless?
Yep.
Yeah, it's an interesting conversation.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me
All
and my
right.
co-host
Emily
Harris Faulkner and
Campagno made her way into the show again every night. Let's keep it moving. Benny Johnson.
Guys, it's Benny. It's no secret that Tucker Carlson has beef with the state of Israel. He's a constant critic of Israel and its government. Plenty to criticize, obviously, but he really went there in a speech last summer, Turning Point USA, where Charlie Kirk was encouraging him, in fact, to hit as hard as he possibly can against Jeffrey Epstein. And he said this about Epstein and his ties to Israeli.
Acceptable. And I think the real answer is Jeffrey Epstein was working on behalf of intel services, probably not American. And we have every right to ask, on whose behalf was he working? How does a guy go from being a math teacher at the Dalton School in the late 70s with no college degree to having multiple airplanes, a private island, and the largest residential house in Manhattan? Where did all the money come from? And no one has ever gotten to the bottom of that because no one has ever tried. And moreover, it's extremely obvious to anyone who watches that this guy had direct connections to a foreign government. Now, no one's allowed to say that that foreign government is Israel because we have been somehow cowed into thinking that that's naughty. There is nothing wrong with saying that. There is nothing hateful about saying that. There's nothing anti-Semitic about saying. There's nothing even anti-Israel about saying that. I've spent my entire life pretty much in Washington, where I knew and loved a number of people, including one very close person who worked at CIA. That has never prohibited me from saying, I think the CIA has done some horrible things, murdered a bunch of people, participated in the murder of a sitting US president. It's got a whole trail of crimes. That doesn't make me a disloyal American. It doesn't make me anti-American in any sense. I was born.
So Tucker Carlson obviously continuing to say that Israel commits crimes on American soil, that Jeffrey Epstein committed crimes on behalf of Israel on American soil. And this is just one of the many times that Tucker Carlson has gone in, of course, extremely hard on the Israel question. This is shocking behavior for a United States ambassador, says Tucker Carlson about Mike Huckabee. Now, this is Mike Huckabee, and I think this is absolutely and totally repulsive behavior, by the way. Like, I'm still waiting for an explanation here. U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee welcomed convicted U.S. spy Jonathan Pollard into the U.S. Embassy in July. And I was like, not something from my perspective that, like, I'm going to say with any animus, right, towards the Huckabee family, just on principle. This is something that you have to remove an ambassador for. Jonathan Pollard is one of the worst spies in U.S. history. He should never be welcomed to a U.S. embassy. He should be in prison. He should have been in prison a lot longer than he actually was. He was bailed out by the state of Israel, given a hero's welcome by the state of Israel. It's totally sickening. Anyway, Tucker Carlson says, shocking behavior from a U.S. ambassador. Is Huckabee going to explain this, welcoming one of the worst U.S. spies in history who spied on behalf of Israel on America? Okay. Well, Mike Huckabee said, Tucker Carlson, instead of talking about me, why don't you come and talk to me? Why don't you, you seem to be generating a lot of heat about the Middle East. Why are you afraid of the light? So Mike Huckabee invites Tucker Carlson to Israel. And then Tucker says, thanks for this. I'd love to. We'll reach out to your office today and set up an interview. Tucker Carlson announced today he's in Israel. So there you go. Tucker Carlson in Israel. Greetings from Israel, and you can see the Israeli flags, and you see they're at some type of what looks like a diplomatic, perhaps, location in Israel. Well, then, ladies and gentlemen, something crazy hit the wire, which is that Tucker Carlson was detained in Israel. The journalist was dragged into an interrogation room, and his entire staff was halted from entering the nation. Oh, boy. Okay, well, here we go. Now we're cooking. Conservative podcast titan Tucker Carlson said he and his staff were detained in Israel Wednesday following the interview with Donald Trump's ambassador to the country. So this is going to be a big interview. It's going to be an interview, obviously, of Mike Huckabee for the aforementioned reasons. But this is new. The former Fox News host flew to Tel Aviv for a sit-down interview with Mike Huckabee, who challenged Carlson to speak with him directly in an online spat, the country's treatment of Christians. Carlson, who frequently criticizes Israel for its military actions in Gaza, took Huckabee up on the offer. Critics of the pro-Israel activist began piling on Carlson for purportedly not leaving the airport during the visit. He revealed that he was met with hostility in the Middle Eastern country. Carlson exclusively told the Daily Mail that shortly after the interview, Israeli officials confiscated his passport, hauled him and his colleagues into interrogation rooms privately. Men who were identified themselves at the airport took our passports. This is Tucker Carlson speaking, hauled our executive producer into a side room and then demanded to know what we spoke to Mike Huckabee about. Carlson.
What? Man, Israel, you cannot trust that
This is
country,
an American
man.
citizen speaking with an American ambassador in a foreign country, and that foreign country is then harassing the journalist. That's insane. It was bizarre.
I don't trust
the country,
Israel.
says Tucker. Prior to the interview, Carlson posted a photo of himself and his business partner at the Ben Gurion airport with the captions "Greetings from Israel." I just showed you that photo. This is a really big scandal. Too bad Tucker stayed at the airport to face so many investigations, to see so many wonderful places. A huge, obvious intention, missed opportunity, said David Friedman, he's the former ambassador, saying Tucker should have gone into the country, right? Gotten assassinated. Two sources familiar with the matter, however, told the Daily Mail that the Israeli government initially did not want to allow Tucker Carlson into the country, prompting a delicate negotiation involving the State Department. Goodness gracious. They didn't want him there to interview the American ambassador. So an American can't go interview an American ambassador. In the end, the Israeli government decided to not bar Carlson from entering the country in order to avoid a diplomatic incident. Spokesperson for the U.S. Embassy
yeah, it would have been a big
Carlson was detained,
diplomatic
claimed he
incident.
received the same passport control questions that countless visitors to Israel, including Ambassador Huckabee and diplomats, receive as part of their normal entrance and exit from Israel. It is not accurate that Israel was going to let Tucker Carlson into the country for the interview, the representative added. The only engagement at the embassy had to do with Israel and the visit to coordinate his private plane landing as part of the facilitating seamless visit. It was Tucker who chose to only come to the country for a few hours and then depart. Tucker received the same positive treatment of any visitors to Israel. The Daily Mail contacted the White House and
positive
the
treatment
office.
Wow.
Obviously, Carlson's been a critic of Israel and has been advocating for the proper treatment of Christians inside of Israel. So here we go. Tucker Carlson detained in Israel, massive trending topic around the globe. American citizen journalist Tucker Carlson detained for interviewing a U.S. ambassador. We won't tolerate this. You just made it worse. Here we go. So here's both sides. MTG versus Laura Loomer.
Israel.
Makes you wonder if Israel intelligence has something on Tucker Carlson,
the Romans to kill him.
Agent.
So why the fuck are we going to trust the fucking Israeli?
So here we go. Community notes remain undefeated. Carlson
it
was
makes
only
zero
in
sense.
the country for a transit capacity for a few hours to conduct an interview with Huckabee. He never left the airport. He refused an invitation to visit the Christian community in Israel. Tucker Carlson detained at the airport. Okay. The U.S. Embassy says Carlson was not detained or mistreated in Israel. He was routine passport control question at Ben Gurion. Tucker claims he was dragged into an interrogation room. When I was in college doing political activism and college Republicans, I was invited to Israel. I went to Israel and they had heavy passport controls. I wasn't dragged in any interrogation room, but I mean, I think Tucker would know the difference between normal passport controls and like being dragged into an interrogation room. Mark Levin, Carlson has a private jet. Did Jeffrey Epstein have a private jet? I see the connection here, just asking questions. So you see where this is devolving into, okay? So anyway, this is, I guess we'll find out soon, right? Tucker Carlson is not suicidal. He won't leave the airport in Israel. It would be easier to leave the airport and come to the country ran by trustworthy people. Streets were filled with trustworthy people. Sadly, this is not the case in Israel. Okay. What on earth, people are saying. All right. I guess we'll wait to see what the actual truth of the matter is. I can't wait for this interview. This is going to be an absolute banger. Let me know what you think in the comment section. It's your boy, Benny. See ya.
I truly hope that Trump runs for a third term. It's getting to that point that I think he's gonna might have to run for a third term because it's just the Democrats are too reckless. That party is just garbage. It's like the Democrats want to do is just bring down America. They don't care about America. If they did, they would rise up and help. But no, they want to belittle you and bring you down. And Israel, that's another story. And you just throw that shit in the garbage because Israel's up to no good again. And they're very sneaky people. They love you when you love them, but they hate you when you don't agree with them. Help me make that make sense. It doesn't. All right, let's keep it moving. We got a liberal high mind here, so let's check this out.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's the meme of the day brought to you by 5mind.com. You know, people wonder why Trump voters are so loyal in their support. And you know, all these left-wing actors, they make it seem as if it's simply a cult of personality. You're just a deranged MAGA superfan who'll do and say anything that Trump tells you. But actually, the truth is a whole lot different. It's actually quite simple. The support for Trump is so sticky because, well, people don't really experience heavy voter regret after voting for him. You know, it's this odd thing in the world of politics where you vote for a person who says a bunch of things, makes a bunch of promises, and then guess what? You get exactly what he told you he was going to do. Basically, you get the exact freaking opposite of what you get with all these leftoid morons. They get elected on these supposed massive campaigns of reform. We're going to fix all these problems. We're going to spend all the rich people's money. It's going to be absolutely great. Vote for me and you'll get X, Y, and Z. And then, of course, in comes the frickin' betrayal. Ooh, actually, we're not doing any of that. Well, it appears the Zoran Mamdani agenda continues to totally collapse as he's now turning against one of his biggest campaign promises. Remember, he was supposed to tax the rich, tax the billionaires, but instead it appears it's more taxes for everyone. New York City voters are absolutely pissed with Zoran Mamdani, and I don't blame them. Let me show you guys exactly what's going on. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so, you know, Mamdani's been doing the math. He's been scribbling on a piece of paper, and I think he's realized that, well, he may have promised the moon and the sun, and, well, he can't deliver on his agenda. And so now in comes the moment of truth. He's increasing your taxes.
Pursue the first path. The only option we have remaining is the second path. At the heart of this path is a property tax increase. This would effectively be a tax on working and middle-class New Yorkers who have a median income of $122,000. The second path also requires us to raid our reserves. It would mean withdrawing $980 million from our city's rainy day fund in fiscal year 2026 and $229 million from the Retiree Health Benefit Trust in fiscal year 2027. These are steps that have been taken before, but only in moments of extraordinary external crisis. Mayor Bloomberg's response to the 2008 financial collapse and Mayor de Blasio's response to the enormous revenue shortfall caused by the pandemic.
And I love that part where he says the only path forward, the only way that we could fix this is with a property tax increase. Really? The only way that you can fix New York City's budget problem is by putting another multi-billion-dollar tax burden on everyday New Yorkers? This guy's a complete moron. And again, it shows left-wing thinking, right? And it's always more and more and more. We found ourselves in another fiscal calamity. We are increasing your taxes. It's the same slow roll, this creep up of tax increases that goes unchecked with these Democrats. The solution is always, we need more of your money. And I take real issue with the statement he made. The only path to fixing this is increasing your property taxes. Are you stupid? Have you ever heard of austerity? How about budget cuts? Running a lean, effective government? Maybe streamlining government processes? Modernizing government systems? Saving money? No, of course not. More taxes on the plebeians. Fix our budget hole, you absolute peasants. It's always the same thing. And I love how with Mamdani it went from we're going to tax the rich to, ooh, actually we can't. And so now instead we're taxing you. Completely insane. I mean, this guy was supposed to make life more affordable for regular New Yorkers.
As your next mayor, I will freeze your rent.
And now he's adding to your living expenses and not an increased cost that's going to, deliver a tangible result. Kind of interesting considering he's always going on about these landlords who don't update their units. Well, that problem's going to get a whole lot worse if those landlords are now paying more in taxes, more money down the drain. Again, you're not exactly getting anything for it. No, your life just became more unaffordable so you could pay off the massive debt hole created by other similar idiots like him. And actually, to put that into clear perspective, it gets even worse with this clip because he then later went on to claim this.
What we'd rather do is ensure that they remain as they are so that the city can be on firm financial footing. However, in order to get to this point of closing the gap on both this fiscal year and the next fiscal year, we are forced to raid the rainy day fund, the Retiree Health Benefits Trust Reserve, and to increase property taxes across these other years.
He's saying it's now necessary to raid the New York City Rainy Day Fund and Retiree Benefit Fund to now fill the budget hole. I mean, is this guy insane or what? And just think about it from a personal level. Imagine you're in debt and it's mostly due to your poor decision-making skills, your poor impulse control. You just spend more than you're earning. Well, you have two options. Change your ways, start spending below your means, slowly paying down your debt, finding, balance to your finances and stability, or just absolutely nuke your life savings. You're now earning no interest on the money that you own. Just straight up take it all, throw it at the debt, and then keep on living the exact same way you're living, likely stacking up another giant debt hole. This is financial illiteracy. The problem is the overspending, but this guy instead wants to nuke New York City's savings, which probably should be money that's invested and earning a return. No, he wants to just take the whole thing, use it as a band-aid fix, cover the short-term budget shortfalls, and not address any of the spending issues that are actually causing the debt. Just kick the can down the road and likely make it a whole lot worse in the future. And I think that's a pretty easy prediction to make, considering how he's now, adding further tax burdens. Tax revenues, I'd argue, are likely to fall or remain relatively even. You might be collecting more in percentage taxes, but you'll have less economic activity, so less money to tax. Not to mention investors and productive people are fleeing New York City. And so you're likely going to have a spiraling debt crisis under this guy. Mark my words. And we know this because, well, he wants to tax more. He's not really getting off the path that caused New York City to be here in the first place. He's always talking about this massive deficit. Oh, it's all Eric Adams' fault. Well, what's at the core of that New York City deficit? It's two things. Firstly, scaring productive people and pushing them to Florida. And secondly, the sanctuary city illegal immigration crisis that hit the state. We all remember what Eric Adams said. He claimed the sanctuary city immigration crisis was going to, quote, destroy New York City if it continued.
We're getting no support on this national crisis, and we're receiving no support. And let me tell you something, New Yorkers. Never in my life have I had a problem that I did not see an ending to. I don't see an ending to this. I don't see an ending to this. This issue will destroy New York City. Destroy New York City.
And well, now we're learning that Mamdani is doubling down. This article suggests that Mamdani now wants another $1.2 billion for migrants in New York City under proposed budget. This guy's an absolute nutcase. I mean, he is practically insane. He's gunning hard for increased corporate taxes and wealth taxes, but obviously he's never going to get that. And so instead, he's going to tax everyone's properties and start, quote, raiding New York City's rainy day funds. Well, you really get what you vote for.
No, he wants to raid the freaking retirement
grifter with no experience, and well, you truly got a socialist grifter who has absolutely no freaking idea what he's doing. He's leading with ideology, and it appears defying reality. We all know how that ends. It appears New York City and Zoran Mamdani are on a crash course for absolute disaster, and something tells me all of this is going to unfold rather quickly. Anyways, that's what I got. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
They're definitely going to have to remove Mamdani as mayor. First of all, he shouldn't have been elected, because we know this for 100% sure, allegedly, but 100% sure, a lot of people that weren't supposed to be voting voted in that election. That is a big problem. Why are we not addressing the voter fraud in New York City? I don't know. Help me make it make sense, because I am so fucking confused on why they're not looking into the voter call, like the voter sheets, to make sure that the individuals that went to go vote, well, those are the same people that went to vote at the voting booths, instead of, oh, let me mail in ballots. I'm going to mail in a whole bunch of ballots. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to put my dog, hold on. Wolfie. Okay, Wolfie wants to run. Wolfie wants Mamdani. Let's go ahead and put it in. It'll never get counted. Don't worry about it. They need to investigate New York's voting logs and do a full roll call to make sure that the people that voted matches their signatures. That's why we need this ID, like the SAFE Act. We need the SAFE Act because, listen, you need your ID to purchase a whole bunch of shit. Why not use that same ID? Listen, you can't even get any benefits if you don't have a fucking ID. Can you help make that make sense? You cannot get SSI. You can't get disability. You can't get any of that shit without your ID. So it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense. But they want to push that narrative. They want to push it as hard as they can to the ground because that's all they care about is themselves. Just drives me crazy. All right, back to this Mandani bullshit.
Now listen to what Queens Borough President Donovan Richards said about Mandani's proposal to raise these property taxes. Watch this.
Without a doubt, you're pushing people out of their home. And even as we talk about a pathway to affordable housing and a pathway to ownership, it's hard to buy a home now. So you're really setting back generation wealth, and you're going to force people out of their homes. And we know, we've already seen what happened in 2008. The Southeast Queens was hit hard, extremely hard.
Yeah. Rosanna Scotto joining me now. Rosanna, if Mandami raises property taxes, wouldn't that raise rents, which is the exact opposite of what he wants to do?
He was saying the rent is too damn high. This is not going to be the greatest idea.
It's going to raise up the rents even more.
He's saying it's a last resort threat, but he put it out there as a threat to Kathy Hochul, who's the governor of New York, because so far she's been resistant to raise any taxes. As we mentioned, it is an election year. Will Kathy Hochul change her mind after November? Bruce Blakeman, who's running for governor against Kathy Hochul, believes she will cave after the election is over because he claims, like, look at what she did with congestion pricing in New York City. She resisted until after the election, then she raised congestion pricing to $9 a car or any vehicle in New York City. What will happen if this happens? And it's a last resort. The city council is already pushing back on this. It will affect not just the wealthy. It's going to affect people who own homes, renters, people who have live on fixed incomes, small businesses, any kind of disposable income. That cup of coffee in the morning, you're not going to be getting one.
It just kills economic activity. What you want is growth.
It's a communist way. Look at Cuba. Look at all these.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how's he doing in his first 2 months in office?
Well, listen, we've had to deal with a terrible winter so far in New York City. And I think if you walk around New York City, we had a snowstorm 2 weeks ago, you will see mounds of ice still around New York City.
No, there's a lot of shit everywhere, too.
We know what we see.
He's not doing great. Rosanna, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Let's keep it moving. Oh. What happened?
Video capturing a very chaotic scene inside a Las Vegas. Staying with us, I'm Kirsten Joyce.
And I'm Denise Valdez. And a story you will only see on 8. A child was riding a zip line when, according to the family, he fell more than 20 feet. They tell 8 News Now reporter Jessamine Walt they're demanding answers from that company.
See, those things are not fucking safe.
The family says the child suffered from a concussion, but he is recovering. They tell me they are traumatized by the event and they can no longer watch the video.
Ninjas.
We are about to show you that video, but
We
a warning,
go to a place
it's hard to
named
watch.
Spy Ninjas.
Let's do it! Knox was celebrating his 10th birthday when the party
Knox,
took
you're gonna
an
be rich. Oh
unexpected
shit,
turn.
Knox fell down.
Breathe, baby. Knox, breathe, baby.
The video shows Knox about to ride the zip line. The child, harnessed, jumps off the platform, making it through a portion of the obstacle before falling more than 20 feet to the ground.
Oh my God.
Video capturing the child's
He's
voice
gonna
in the
be rich.
immediate aftermath.
Oh, you made that little boy's birthday.
Knox's family witnessed seeing it all.
They didn't have
He's gonna
any
be
cushion
called
on the floor.
Knox
Like it
Ninjas.
was like pretty much straight concrete. He landed like straight on his back and his head.
Knox's uncle,
Oh.
Navante Hill, recalling the incident.
Not good.
Like the scariest moment as a family for all of us. Like, you know, on his birthday, on top of it, it was like in slow motion.
That little boy's gonna be rich.
What the?
Hill calling 911.
As soon as I called, they were like, we had people on the line. So I hung up and just tried to comfort Knox.
It's okay, baby. I'm right here. It's okay, brother. I'm right here, baby.
More than 1 week later, the family remains shaken.
It'll like pop in your head for a second, and you just kind of got to try to shake it off. It seems like
Oh,
we're just
God.
spending as much time as possible with Knox.
As for the child,
no.
the family says he is expected to return to school soon, and Spy Ninja itself has still been open since the event occurred. Reporting
That's
from Sahara and
crazy.
Buffalo, Jessamine Wolk,
How are they
8 News
still
Now.
open?
Now, Hill told Jessamine the family hasn't yet heard from Spy Ninja since that incident. Jessamine also reached
You're
out
not
to
gonna hear
Spy
from them.
Ninja and their founders, YouTube stars Chad Wild Clay and Be Quaint, for a statement, and we have not heard back.
Oh, honey, you better get an attorney. Hold on a second. These spies, listen, you can't trust these spies, especially if they're ninjas. Don't trust them. They're not even gonna reach out to you because they don't want to be liable. So if they reach out, that's an admission of guilt. So you're gonna have to, one, hire an attorney and get a really good one. And guess what? You're gonna win millions. And that facility should have been closed down and should have been inspected properly by federal, state. Should have went in there and did a full investigation and why that this thing broke the way it did. But apparently it didn't. They're still operating it like nothing happened. Oh boy. I tell you, we're living in a weird fucking world. It is so fucking weird. Oh no, back to this fucking Mandani bullshit. God damn, fucking Mandani. I can't stand this guy. Let's put the volume up.
Major budget woes, but now that dysfunction is now working its way down to the local level. New York City Mayor Zoran Kami Marxist Mamdani is finding out the hard way that his city is spending way beyond their means because he wants to spend a whopping $127 billion, which, by the way, is more than the entire budget for this free state of Florida that I live in. And he's still on a massive budget deficit. And he has a brilliant solution. Raise taxes, of course. Now, Zoran wants to see property taxes.
This guy's a fucking fraud.
Increase by almost 10%, which of
What
course
a
will
fraud.
almost certainly lead to similar rent increases and probably more mass migration. But that is only a Band-Aid. Zoran really wants a major tax hike on the wealthy, but Governor Hochul so far is not super keen on driving more tax revenue out of the state. So she's throwing Zoran a bone, an extra $1.6 billion to hold him over for now. For now, keywords. But what does he need more money for anyway? Well, just a few small things, $33 billion for pensions, debt service, plus an extra billion for illegals, another $30 billion for social services. New Yorkers, you're getting exactly what you voted for. Congratulations. Here with reaction. He is a lifelong New Yorker, Fox Business host David Asman. I would tell you I'm sorry. However, you do have options. You do have choices. New Jersey, not that much better, so that wouldn't really be at the top of my list. But this is so predictable, all of it. Can you imagine New York City he wants more money than the entire budget in the entire state of Florida with better infrastructure, better schools. And we have budget surpluses here. We don't have deficits.
Yeah. And you have zero taxes. I mean, taxes is always the thing that they go to in a knee-jerk fashion. This is something that's going to hurt the middle class. Now, when you think of the middle class, think of the expenses in New York. It's an expensive city, but this tax raise that he's proposing, and again, it's on your property. It will affect 3 million property units in New York. Most of them are apartments, and the median income
they're gonna raise
property
those
owners
taxes.
is about $120,000 a year. Sounds like a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of money
awfully
to
illegal.
New York.
Yep,
Believe
you're
me,
right,
that's middle
Terry.
class. So it's hurting the middle class.
He wants to
Plus, if
protect
those
his
apartments are rented out,
people.
it means that the way that they're going to
He
pay
doesn't
for
give
those
a
higher
fuck
taxes
about the
is by
Americans. He doesn't
increasing
give a
rents.
fuck.
Now,
He wants the
claims he's
Americans
gonna
to
have a
keep
rent
paying
freeze.
the
You
taxes so
can't
his
have
people can live
everything,
all free.
Mamdani. I mean, he wants
Fuck
a
that shit.
$15 billion increase in the budget. $15 billion, and the money just ain't there. He wanted to get it through this wealth tax. He can't do that by himself, but he can do the property tax by himself. And again, that will hit the middle class. Exactly those people who he claims voted for him. Many of them probably did, but what a wake-up call it's going to be for them.
It really is. Now, they have this ballot measure in California that would be retroactive to January, and it's coming up in November, and it would be a 5% wealth tax for billionaires in that state. You have two of the co-founders of Google. They moved to Florida. Larry Ellison, he's moved to Florida. I think Elon Musk is now out of California.
He's playing with,
in Austin.
It's
And
not good.
all of these people are packing up and leaving because, I've met a lot of people that are wealthy in their life. I have not met anybody that is a trust fund brat. And all these people worked hard for their money, and all of them, without exception, are smart people. And I don't think they're going to give up their wealth to politicians that are going to waste their money so they can retain power.
No, and yet he's blind to this. He had an interview with Katie Couric a while back, Donnie did, in which he said, no, New Yorkers, we can raise their taxes. New York is such a great place to live. They'll be happy to stay here. Well, from 2012 until 2022,
don't come to Connecticut, motherfuckers.
The basic
y'all
tax
voted
rate,
for that piece
the
of shit.
highest
Y'all
tax
keep
rate
that
we
piece of
have
shit.
Went up 20%. He's proposing a 51% wealth tax. He doesn't think that there are going to be people leaving. 1.7 million New Yorkers.
Yo, Wall Street's going to Miami.
Increase. What do you think they do with an immediate 51%
Wall Street's going to Miami.
tax increase? I think we'd see another
I guarantee you.
1.7 million, if not a lot more than that, leave New York. And of course, that would drain the tax revenue. This city's going to go bankrupt.
Yep.
What's the temp where you are in New York City right now?
Right now, it's not so bad. The big freeze is over. It's about 40 degrees. But I know you're going to talk about Florida. Please don't.
No,
Please don't.
No, I'm not going to mention right now that it's 70 degrees with a nice, cool ocean breeze. I'm not going to mention that at all.
I knew it.
Damn.
I knew it. Thank you for
David,
not
good to see
mentioning
you.
that. Yeah.
Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Damn.
Hey, click here
No,
to
but it's true.
subscribe
Florida
to Fox.
temperature right now is in the 70s, especially around the Orlando Space Coast area. They got really nice temperatures year round, yet New York can still figure their shit out. I'm telling you, Wall Street will pick up their shit. They will move all the way down to Miami. They will start a new Wall Street in Miami. And guess what? You're fucked, New York. You're royally fucked. What are they gonna do? Do you think all these millionaires that live in these like fancy apartments are gonna just stay there and just get taxed to heaven? Like, sorry, we're not gonna do that. They're gonna leave. Shit, they're gonna look into Connecticut. They're gonna look into other states that are nearby. Like, it's just he's doing it on purpose. Mandani is doing this on purpose, but he wants to bring more of his people over. Bring them over. Bring them all over. And let them all fucking rot in New York City. Because the first atomic weapon or a nuclear weapon that'll hit, let it hit New York City. If you're going to attack anything, you guys already did it with 9/11. Oh, you guys forgot about 9/11. Oh, guess what? You're not going to be able to celebrate 9/11 with Mandani because he's going to say he's not going to celebrate it. He's not going to go. He's not going to be a part of the festivities. Like, he's not. He's probably going to go celebrate the deaths of the individuals and wish for more people to die, but yet pay your taxes while you're dead too. Get the fuck out of here, man. All right, let's keep it moving. Got some more news, and then we're going to be wrapping it up soon. We have like a couple of more videos to go. Did a little early start. Here we go.
We're following two cases. Missing persons investigations. Nancy Guthrie missing for more than 2 weeks. Also a mother and daughter visiting for a cheer competition in Las Vegas. And sadly, that investigation turns to heartache.
The mother and daughter came here in town for a dance competition or a cheer competition. Sometime last night, the mother shot her daughter and then shot herself. This is a sad and tragic incident.
Metro Police, they're describing what they believe to be a murder-suicide.
So you just heard it there. Police believe that the mother shot her own daughter. Our Will Silverstein joins us live outside the Rio Hotel. This is where all this took place. Give us a timeline of what happened over the weekend.
Well, Dana, that's exactly right. Rio Hotel over the back left shoulder. You think about these competitions amongst youth athletes. It's supposed to be a fun time, especially on a President's Day weekend, a holiday weekend, where you get that extra day to compete. And now the question was, what happened over the course of those few days? Law enforcement saying they checked in, then they checked in once more. What happened in that time in between? Metro talking to us, former law enforcement talking to us right now.
It is the mother and daughter, correct?
Las Vegas Metro sharing the devastating details from inside the Rio Hotel and Casino Sunday evening. Metro telling News 3 in a press release, quote, detectives were able to determine the mother shot her daughter before shooting herself.
The mother is in her mid-30s, and the daughter is a preteen.
That daughter is Addie Smith, a member of Utah Extreme Cheer who was in town from neighboring Utah for a competition. The mother's believed to be Tanya McGeehan. At nearly 11 a.m. Sunday morning, police got a request for a welfare check at the Rio Casino and Hotel where the pair were supposedly staying. After knocking at the door to no response, officers left the area. Then hours later, after more requests to check on the two, officers and hotel security returned to find the mother and daughter dead in the room. So why did it take so long to get into the room?
I don't mean to sound cynical, but good or bad, it depends a lot on what's said in the call that requests the welfare check.
That's retired FBI agent Greg Rogers. He explained that the call or calls that triggered the initial welfare check may have not been significant enough to warrant a forced entry.
If there's something said in the call just to the effect of, they were supposed to call us this morning and we haven't heard from them, or it's a family member who just hasn't had contact, that's one thing. They're just going to go to the room and knock. And because of why they were in town, they may have assumed, she's at her dance competition. They've just been busy or something like that. Certainly, if it's a call that indicates that someone's been harmed, that's a whole different matter. That's doors turned down. In this case, they would have had security open the door, of course, but they would have clearly gone in the room.
And so, when this press conference happened over the weekend, you had a question being asked to Metro there about whether or not anybody in the hotel heard about this alleged gunshots taking place. They said they didn't hear anything from those people at that time. So no reports to Metro at the time of that presser from yesterday of people hearing a gunshot. That makes things harder. We talked with an attorney, another former police officer in our next hour about exactly why that's important. If it was reported to hotel management, if it was reported to law enforcement and the impacts that would have on this investigation, that's at 6 o'clock. But reporting from now, the DI Overpass, Will Silverstein, News 3.
It's just unimaginable. And the big question tonight is why? And that's a question that may never be answered. Will, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll never know why. Like, it's like we still haven't found this fucking crazy lady. Like, where is Nancy? Where is this lady at? Like, it's already been it's gonna go on its third week, and we still haven't nothing, not even a lead. That's how bad it is, and it's making the FBI look bad. It's making the sheriffs is a fucking joke. Like, what in the hell is going on over there in Arizona? Don't know. All right, let's check this out here. But that was a sad story with the little girl, man. The fucking mom killing her 11-year-old daughter. She's a little cheerleader, a little girl. And the mom kills her and then kills herself. What a fucking, bunch of animals, man. Animals. Society is just, I give up on society. I just report on it. And Trump, I hope you run for a third term. I hope they amend the 22nd Amendment. I hope they amend it and it gets expelled and we could go ahead and let Trump run for a third term. He should be able to run for a third term because they fucked him over the last election. So, I think to make good on their fuck ups, he should be able to and should be allowed to run for a third term. All right, here we go.
I appreciate that because I can trust him because he tells exactly how he feels and what he thinks. Thank God for this president. I am filled, my cup runneth over. Because he allowed his constituents, his people to come to my house to interview me, to talk about the murder of my grandson. It seemed like nobody cared. I'm an advocate for murder. I marched, I rallied, I pulled out other families in the District of Columbia that had murders and did not have answers. Ooh. We marched and we rallied, and nobody heard me, Democrats. Get mad at me. Until this Republican sent his constituents, his people out there to interview me in my home. Have you ever heard of a thing? Then they invited me twice before Congress to testify for the beautiful bill that's going to change crime in the district. If you kill somebody, okay, you take a life, you do life. Just that simple. If you do a harsh crime, you do harsh time. Just that simple. And then we need National Guard, and which we did years ago. He brought it on. I love him. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say about that racist stuff. And don't be looking at me on the news, hating on me because I'm standing up for somebody that deserves to be standing up for. Get off the man's back. Let him do his job. He's doing the right thing. Back up off of him.
Woo!
And Grandma said it.
Woo! Damn. Aw. It was like, damn, that was good. Oh, that made me feel good. For a sec, I was falling asleep, with this Mandani shit, but that woke me up. Oh my God. We need some more coffee here. Here we go. Let's bring on Karen Levitt here. Let's see what she has to say.
In his statement about Jesse Jackson, the president said, despite the fact that I'm falsely and consistently called a racist by the scoundrels and lunatics on the radical left, Democrats all, it was always my pleasure to help Jesse along the way. Where or when does the president believe he's been falsely called racist?
You're kidding, right?
No.
Yeah. I will pull you plethora of examples. I'm going to get my team in that room to start going through the internet of radical Democrats throughout the years, Ed, who have accused this president falsely of being a racist. And I'm sure there's many people in this room and on network television across the country who have accused him of the same. In fact, I know that because I've seen it with my own eyes. And the president very much looks forward to having an event later this afternoon at 3 p.m. to celebrate Black History Month and to talk about how his policies are advancing opportunity and prosperity for all Americans through record tax cuts, through the Trump accounts that all Americans can access regardless of race. These are a great thing for the next generation of Americans. The president has also awarded hundreds of millions of dollars in additional funding to strengthen educational outcomes at historically Black colleges and universities across the country. Again, the president is protecting the hard-earned benefits of the 2.4 million Black veterans who honorably served in our nation's armed forces by reducing the Black backlog of veterans waiting for their VA benefits and for their home loans through the Department of Veterans Affairs. So there is a lot this president has done for all Americans, regardless of race, and he has absolutely been falsely called and smeared as a racist, and I'm happy to provide you those receipts, and we gladly will right after this briefing. Jennifer, go ahead.
You mentioned the $5 billion in pledges for the Board of Peace. Will we be able to get a breakdown of which countries are providing each of those pledges?
Yes.
And which countries are providing troops?
Sure. We're happy to provide that breakdown. And I'm also happy to provide the list of countries that will be attending tomorrow. I know it's more than 20 countries. I know there's a lot of interest in that. I'll spare myself reading you the list of 20 countries from the podium, but we will provide it. And the president will be opening the meeting tomorrow with remarks and will sort of formally be chairing the meeting at the beginning before he departs for Georgia tomorrow.
And then on the sewage spill, the sewage pipe that broke on Potomac, can you give us an update on the federal government's response? And officials have told CBS that some of that aging infrastructure is a concern that this particular particular pipe wasn't even of the most urgent concern. Do you know if the government is looking into which other pipes could be at risk of collapsing?
Well, the next step in this process is for any of the three local jurisdictions involved, whether that's the Commonwealth of Virginia, the state of Maryland and Governor Moore, or the District of Columbia, to step forward and to ask the federal government for help and to ask for the Stafford Act to be implemented here so that the federal government can go and take control of this local infrastructure that has been abandoned and neglected by Governor Moore in Maryland for far too long. In fact, it's no secret that Maryland's water and infrastructure have been in dire need of repair. Their infrastructure has received a nearly failing grade in the 2025 report card from the American Society of Civil Engineers. This is the same grade they've received 5 years earlier. There has been no improvement under the leadership of Governor Moore. He's clearly shown he's incapable of fixing this problem, which is why President Trump and the federal government are standing by to step in. And for all of the environmentalists in the room and across the District of Columbia, let's all hope and pray that this governor does the right thing and ask President Trump to get involved, because it will be an ecological and environmental disaster if the federal government does not step in to help. But of course, we need the state and local jurisdictions to make that formal request. That's part of the legal process to move forward.
That's true. We got to move forward some way, somehow, because we can't be stagnant. We can't, the Democrats, all they were doing was going backwards. It was like, what the hell is going on? Like, why are we just stagnant? We're going backwards. We're falling back. The world is looking at us like we're fucking a clown show. It felt like with Biden, I just felt so vulnerable. I felt like we were under like the weakest of all weakest presidents. And I mean, Bush Sr. was a pretty weak president. And it couldn't, top him, but yet alone, here comes Biden. We know he was the puppet, listen, we already know the whole gig. The gig is up. Trump is in office now. I hope the truth comes out, because I've been censored a lot on YouTube. As you can see, there's nobody here. There's Terry, Terry, and probably Albie, but the censorship is crazy. It's like when you speak the truth, you say too much, they silence you. But if you become dumb and very liberal, then they give you all the views, they give you all the attention, especially if I dye my hair like a rainbow color and I get a big sectum ring on my fucking nose and I have to make it like super big and noticeable. That's the only way this channel will get any like attention. I'm gonna have to come here looking like a fucking clown. I'm gonna have to come with colorful hair and a big ass ring like in my nose, and just talk left, far left talks. I don't even know what they talk about. I don't know. They probably talk about hurting others. I don't know. I that's what they know to do. Very recently, while these fucking he, she's, I don't know what you want to call them. They can call them trannies. You call them drag queens. But they've been very violent and very on a rampage that's like batshit crazy. And the fact that there's more of these individuals, which is it's like an internal sabotage with these individuals, because like a lot of them got butchered. A lot of those men that went in to change their sex, they just massacred you, and then they made you into a weirdo down there. And what is that supposed to do? Like, I don't understand why cut that off. By cutting that off, it makes you give you better chance to being with a guy. Like I don't get it. I don't get it, especially the one up here in Rhode Island. That guy had fucking more muscles than I did ever. That guy looks like a fucking wrestler. For a second, I thought he was a wrestler. I was like, is this some like is this like a because the dude thinks he's a lady, but motherfucker got tattoos and big ass fucking muscles, all jacked up. Come on, man. I need a little bit more of Trump. Trump makes me happy. He's my cure. I'm sorry. Fuck these liberals. Like they just too crazy for me. Like you could be left and that's fine with me. But don't go crazy beyond left, you know, and it's very radical on that side. And it's like just listening to them, it just I want to play a violin and then I want to get that violin and smash that shit on the fucking floor. That's how bad like the left is, like the far left is to me. Because I have friends and people that I know that are on the left and they're Democrats. My fucking father's a Democrat. And I'm like, what? Like, how the fuck? Thank God my mother's a Republican. God, and my sister too. I was like, they better be because I would fucking disown them all. Now, I haven't talked to my father in years because of this bullshit with his fucking democratic thinking and bullshit. I'm like, you know what? Fuck this shit. You can take your fucking pension and your fucking futures and shove it up your ass because it's not is listen, I'm good and I will always be good. And this message goes out to them and they know who I'm talking about. I am okay. I never and I don't need to get in touch with anybody. I just don't. I don't attract negativity to me. You know what I mean? I try to project positivity to push away the negative away from me. But thanks for coming through. I appreciate it. Terry, you're good. Albie's always Albie, I know Albie for years. Albie's been like really cool people. They all talk about the orange man bad. Yeah, he's not bad, man. My dad, he doesn't like Trump, and I don't talk to him. There's nothing for me to talk to him about. And he can't hold this carrot in front of me and think that I'm gonna want to chase it. You know, I'm not gonna sucker up to anybody for no money at all. And I don't care if I'm in his will. I don't care if there's a fucking $1 million policy on my father. I don't care. You know, he's done so much negative that it's just like, you know, I sucker him in to get information and get more information. And my mom always used to fight with me. It's like, why you so like, why you so nice to him and why you continue to talk to him? And I'm like, let me do my thing. And yeah, man, just not a good person. Not a good person at all. He should have been in jail, to be honest with you. He should have been put in jail. And he should have been sent for a very long time. My opinion, my father. I hope they watch this. I hope he watches this. He called you a Biden worshiper. That's really, he was probably really mad at you to call you that. That's funny though. Oh my god. I would have laughed and I would have told him, fuck you. You fucker. Like, you crazy? The rest of my family are liberals as you can get. Damn. That's wild. Yeah, my father's a fucking liberal, and the family too. I believe, and I don't care. I don't talk to them. I don't talk to the family. I disowned that family a very long time ago, and over on my mom's side too. I'm fine being independent. I'm fine by my like doing things like I'm fine. You know, I don't have to depend on family. You know, I was never like, you know, my dad helped me out. You know, and I pay him back. You I know he ripped me off because he was supposed to give me a car. Because he was supposed to give me okay. He made a promise to my mother that he was gonna give me a Chevy Camaro, right? Right. So come like 20 something years later, like 20, I would say like 19, 20 years later, and he wouldn't give me the car. I had to buy it from him. I paid him $10,000 and I got the Camaro. Ain't that some shit? And my mom even told me, she said, like, he was supposed to give you a Camaro because he told me he was gonna get you one, and he never did. I had to pay for it, but I did, and I got the title, put that bitch under my name, and then down the line, after I had my fun with it, I sold it. I sold it to get back at him. And it's like as much work he did to that car, it wasn't even that. It wasn't even complete. The fucking floor needed work. Like it still needed work on the car. But anyhow, 30 years. Wow. When he was 4, last time I saw. Okay, I was 34. Wow, 34. That's crazy. Your first car is the car that you have now. That's what's up. Wow, at least it's going. Yeah, I saw that car. I was like, fuck that shit. And then I'm just hoping that my dad doesn't pass away out of the blue, because that would be the biggest nightmare for me. It's the biggest nightmare because I gotta deal with a fucking family, and then I gotta deal with his fucking whatever he has in his place, and then I gotta get all the paperwork, and then I gotta fucking go to to the attorney, give him the fucking paperwork. I am the fucking beneficiary of everything. I'm number one. I don't want to be, but then I gotta deal with all that fucking legal shit. It's bullshit, man. It's a nightmare. All I'm gonna do is turn around and give it to my niece, because I'm not gonna be here for long. I'm not planning to fucking be here for long. My niece could be better off with that shit. She'd be better off with the money. Wouldn't mean I would take a trip. I'll take a trip, but I didn't go on vacation on his dime. But he should have been put to jail because of me. He should have went to jail. I don't know how that worked out. I never questioned my mother about it. I should do a show and just fucking just interrogate. 88 to 2018. That's what's up. Yeah, my mom took grudge against me to her grave. Yeah. Yeah, I think my parents are going to be doing the same. Yeah, my mom, I can't really talk to her because that's a headache right there. I don't like that energy to be stuck on me. She has too much baggage, and then I don't want to hear it, and it's hardly ever positive. So I really don't want that energy around me. Then my father, he's doing his thing. I really don't, don't follow. I don't follow. All right, I need a little bit of Trump. I need some Trump. So let's get some Trump.
House pardon czar. This is a big job. This is a big job. Alice Johnson. Alice? Where's Alice? What a sweetheart. I met Alice and she was incarcerated for what some people would say today is not even a fine, right, Alice? It's not even a fine. And I said, how long has she been in jail? 22 years.
What?
I said, 22 years. And right, Alice? And come on up here, Alice.
Oh,
come on up.
President's calling you to the front. Woo. I wish
said,
you would call me to the front.
years, and she was on a phone call. This was over a phone call. I know about fake phone calls too, Alice, remember? They tried to get me in a fake phone call. But Alice was in jail for like 22 years. I said, how many years does she have left? 28. I said, 28 years left. And I said it, and I mean, she admitted she made a little mistake, but it was not the kind of a mistake that you serve 50 years in jail for. Like maybe a couple of months.
She's pretty
maybe less than that. And I said, this is the most unfair. And then when I met her, I fell in love. My wife was very upset with it. A great first lady did not like that, Scott. She didn't like it, but Alice is great. And say a couple of words. It was so ridiculous. 22 years. She had 28 left. And I said, let's get her the hell out. And we got her out. We did a commute. And then when I got to know her, she was so high quality. I said, full pardon. So she's cleaner than anybody in this room, even than my friend right here.
Full pardon.
She's cleaner because of that.
He wipes out everything.
Cleaner than anybody in this room.
Yeah, it all gets wiped.
Thank you, Mr. President. The feeling was mutual. I fell in love with this man, with his heart, with his heart for this country, with his heart to really bring America back to the former greatness that it deserved. And that's exactly what he has done.
I'm trying to see here. Damn, man. Y'all fucking blocked the way with the damn phones. Put your phones down. I'm telling you, technology really fucking up everything. It fucked up that scene right there. I was enjoying that nice, beautiful, thought at 20. I wonder what crime she did. What did she do? That caused her to get 50 years in jail? Wait, no. How much was it? No, wait. Was it 50 years? Yeah, because it was 28. Well, she did 22. So it's 50 years. Wow. I really wonder what she did. I'm gonna do my homework on that one. I need to come back to see what she did to cause her that much. That's pretty weird sentence. Let me see. Let's jump the pond. You want to jump the pond? Let's get some British. Let's see what's going on with the British over there across the pond. Guys going crazy. Let's put the volume up.
Wanted Andrew banished quite a while ago, and he was fighting with his father about it.
The Mirror's royal editor, Russell Myers, has written a joint biography of the Prince and Princess of Wales titled William and Catherine, The Intimate Inside Story, which draws on exclusive access to palace insiders. So the reports are that William really saw Andrew as someone that needed to be banished quite a while ago, and also as someone who was a stain on the royal family, Andrew.
That's a good feeling.
Yeah, stain on the royal family is exactly the position. And again, as I pointed out on the show, he was very, very harsh in terms of how he wanted Andrew to be dealt with. Harsh but fair, if you on that sort of basis, because it was quite right. He realized that the general public would make that association. And we saw at the Duchess of Kent's funeral how uncomfortable William looked around his uncle. Those relations have been strained for a very, very long time. William has been brutal, is the word I used previously, about trying to exclude Andrew, but with good cause, because it is a stain on the monarchy. And by association, the more that Andrew's trumpeted out at these sort of events, the better for that sort of scandal to continue to stick. You don't want that scandal to stick, and therefore distance is the best way to address with that. But certainly, I think William was the driving force about not having him at Christmas events. He would have had a conflict, if you like, previously with his father about it. He wanted to go further than his father wanted as a result. But now that Andrew's been stripped of his titles, you can guarantee that it's almost unlikely that they're going to be seen at events together. And certainly William, where they are forced into particular events, will want to keep his distance as far as possible.
Well, it's not just Andrew that has had some very serious allegations made against him. Fergie's relationship with Epstein is certainly being scrutinised. What's the latest on the allegations around Fergie?
Well, all the time, and we used to feel a bit sorry for Fergie because we thought she was embroiled and brought under the sort of shadow, if you like, of her husband or former husband. What's now emerged is that she's not only borrowed lots of money that she needs to do, but she also at one stage tried to retract from criticising Epstein in public. She said that she received a threatening phone call, which is why she sort of turned around and was sort of deeply apologetic to Jeffrey Epstein because she was worried that she might be sued for defamation. She also sort of turned around and apparently asked him to marry her on that sort of basis, and even asked the possibility of getting a job with him. She would call herself a house assistant. And that's apparently, according to the Mail on Sunday, they wanted to avoid using the term housekeeper or just a special word for someone who employs a legion of staff. What happened is exactly that. Fergie, there are more and more revelations about what was said, what emails went where, and so on and so forth. And that's the sort of thing. The first request for employment was back in 2010, when apparently Epstein was under house arrest in Florida following his conviction for preferring a child for prostitution. And that's the important point, Gabriella. It's the timing of all of these things. This is after the convictions. Yeah. This is all sort of denying that there's ongoing discussions. And as I say, sunlight is the best disinfectant. We're going to have all of those emails being revealed. So it's better that you deal with those head on, but embroiled and tarnished as a result of the ongoing scandal.
Just finally, we mentioned Megxit as a pretty big scandal that the royal family has had to face. It's been revealed that Princess Catherine, she was always a voice of reason when it came to William and Harry's relationship, when that started to fracture, started to fall apart. But there became this turning point where she realised that she could no longer bring them together. She realised there was no turning back and that Megxit was inevitable. These revelations also being detailed in Russell Myers' book. What are those details around this turning point when Princess Catherine realised there was no turning back?
Yes, and I think that's the thing, is the difference between the two brides, if you like, William and Catherine, which became this wonderful romance, and she got security as soon as they got involved. Harry was always concerned about the security for him and also when he started dating Meghan, and there was a conflict there because they didn't get the same level of security. You also had very much the different attitudes, if you like. The Catherine was always seen as this wonderful rose and still is adored by the public. And Meghan, they sort of had that love-hate relationship, which has gone more to the latter now that she's in America. But apparently what happened,
he's going to be king
she
soon.
hugged William
You know
when
that,
she
right?
first saw him. This is what happened, and made him feel a bit uncomfortable.
be king soon.
Catherine described Meghan as friendly,
And I hope
erring on the side
does
of
the right
somewhat
thing.
over-friendly, is what she said. And she used the phrase, the damning
They're getting
word,
these
a
motherfuckers
touch of
out of this
California
country.
about her, which she didn't necessarily mean in a sort of confidential way. It was a very different shake-up, if you like, for the royal
Man, I
family.
remember him.
And
He
you'll
was
recall in that
man.
Oprah interview about demonstrating how she
He's about to
curtsied
become fucking
to the
king
Queen, and how cringeworthy Harry felt, or certainly gave the impression on that sort of basis. But it's a sort of strained relationship, and that's the issue. And it's really quite sad because the brothers, they grew up in very
This
tragic
one's a failure.
circumstances,
This
lost their mother
one's a
when they were
scandal
both
baby.
very young,
That's what he
and
is.
supported each other through that. And it's sad
That's the
to
scandal
see
baby.
that they've drifted apart in this way. I, for
You
one,
can
really
tell
hope
the
there will
energy.
be some sort of resolution, if only for the king in what is obviously a very difficult time for him with his own cancer diagnosis and so on and so forth.
Harry doesn't look.
Well, I know if there
like his
is,
father.
you'll be bringing us all the details as it happens. Andrew Eborn, UK barrister and broadcaster, thank you so much for your time.
It's an absolute pleasure as always. See you next time.
All right, so we're gonna stay in Australia because Australia has. See, we were talking about the British there. Now we're going to Australia. So let's see what they got to say over here. Oh, they're gonna be talking about Gavin Newsom. Oh Lord, let's see what positive messaging he's gonna come out of his mouth. Look at Australia, the weather. It's a pretty big country. Like pretty big, but I'm pretty sure this is Celsius. So these are probably running on height. This is summertime down there. So the temperature is Celsius. I don't know the temperature really in Fahrenheit, but it seems pretty hot. Some areas are getting a lot of rain. It looks like a system came in here, probably like maybe a typhoon or something, or yeah, maybe something came through here, and because there's a lot of rain, so that's only tropical weather will do that. But hey, that's good. They need the rain, but it's a pretty big. I always wanted to go here in Australia, the Gold Coast, because there was a koala sanctuary that's in the Golden Coast, and I always wanted to go there. I always wanted to. I don't think I'll be able to do it in this lifetime because that is a long flight to get here, and I don't know if I'm capable of being in a plane for that long to because I always wanted to go to the Great Barrier Reef. I never really wanted to snorkel through it. I wanted to go like on a glass bottom boat so I could see it from the boat. And I don't have to be in the water. I don't trust. There's a lot of sharks in fucking Australia. Okay. All these motherfuckers right here, these sharks are all around and they're attacking the people in Australia. I know. So this is crazy. Okay. So let's get to the story. All right. Enough of my story.
Donald Trump hurdled towards the midterms, which traditionally go against a sitting government. We've got a peek into who the Democrats might be offering up for the general election next time around. So this Real Clear Politics average poll will bring it up for you now. There you go. It's got the leading contenders so far. Look who's out in front. Kamala Harris, who's here in Australia at the moment. Well out, despite getting thumped at the last election. Then you've got California's Governor Gavin Newsom, whose time as a governor is conveniently coming to an end.
7.5.
He's tried to up his social media game of late. He's in its second.
Pete
Buttigieg, Josh Shapiro, AOC there as well. Joining us live to discuss this and more is the former White House Deputy Press Secretary Hogan Gidley. Hogan, good to see you. So, do you believe the next Democrat contender will come from that list?
I don't, actually. That's a hot take here. Listen, Kamala Harris is the top.
Where's Hillary Clinton?
Polls, and let me first of all say, I'm glad she's not in America right now, but too bad it has to be Australia. Sorry, you guys have her for a few days.
So she's gonna run.
This is mostly name ID. She just ran for president. Everyone was talking about her, but as you just point out, she got walled up pretty good in the last election. So people still have her top of mind because of her name. Gavin Newsom's trying to make some news as well. He's been out there fighting with Trump and trying to mix it up and chart a path forward too. But I think Buttigieg, AOC, Shapiro, I think is the strongest one on that list. And I've worked for a couple of presidential candidates, both in Rick Santorum and Mike Huckabee, who never even, they were never on the radar at the beginning of their respective races, and then ended up finishing second and went on to have good careers. So both of those people, of course, I'm kind of prone to those who don't really have a lot of name ID. But looking at this list right now, the one who's got some experience and actually some gravitas and some heft, it isn't just a show horse, but is instead a workhorse, is someone like Josh Shapiro.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be beatable as well. But right now, it's anybody's race. And I think the field, if you gave me the option to take the field or that list, I'm taking the field.
Okay, but I mean, Shapiro, he's more of a centrist as opposed to the others, isn't he?
Well, they say that. That's one of the ways they like to package these folks. We were also told Abigail Spanberger in Virginia was a big centrist too, and a moderate gets elected. Look how easy it is to get elected if you just moderate. And then she comes in and raises taxes higher than the state of like California and makes it almost unlivable at this point. So a long way to go between now and then. I mean, we have a midterm election here in this country to reelect the House and the Senate before we even start on a presidential. So you can expect it to pick up in earnest probably the first of next year.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Newsom's got cut through, does he not? I mean, even though he can't run his own state with huge problems in California, he does seem to have cut through.
He does. Like I said, in large part because he's picking a fight with Donald Trump, and Donald Trump's happy to punch right back whenever someone comes at him. I find him to be vapid, but also he's an abject failure. I mean, look around his state. You just mentioned it. The worst taxes on the planet. People are leaving his state in droves, going to other places. The failed projects that spent billions of taxpayer dollars that didn't end up happening, trains to nowhere. All of these things happen. But I'll tell you, you don't have to worry about Republican attacks on Newsom just yet. That's the beauty of the primary system. If they have them set up right, they fight each other. They go after each other. And so a lot of the best ads that Republicans get against Democrats and Democrats get at Republicans come from the primary process when the infighting happens.
Yeah.
So if you think all these other candidates are going to just let Gavin Newsom run free, you're crazy. They're going to start going after him hard too.
That's true. So when you said you don't believe the contender is going to come from that list, who do you think will end up running?
I don't know. I mean, I think Whitmer's going to run in Michigan, although I don't think she's very impressive either. I don't think the Democrats, look, I'm a conservative. I make no bones about that. I just don't think they have a really deep bench. Most of these folks right now just don't have the chops to get it done. No stage is bigger. No lights burn hotter than that of the presidential. And you remember a man named Rick Perry, who was governor of Texas, a friend of mine. I love Rick. But you can oops yourself off of that stage in a hurry with just one little mistake. You can't win the whole thing on a debate stage. You can sure lose it. And we've seen a lot of candidates lose it. I just don't know that these folks quite have it just yet. There'll be time to get it there, but I don't know if they have it.
It's good to talk to you, my friend Hogan Gidley. Love the suit too.
Pete Booty Plug. Oh man, he's third. Wait a minute, he's in third place. Who is Pete gonna be the running mate to? Because Pete Booty, he's only gonna be he can't. Imagine president. Oh no, that it's just. Listen. I know we live in hell, but damn, does it have to be that bad? All right, let's keep it. We're international, right? We went from the British to Australia. The Australians talking to the British, and the Australians talking about Gavin Newsom and his stupidity. And now we're gonna go to, I believe this is Taiwan. Something happened in Taiwan, so we're gonna watch this together. It looks like some, and I love fireworks. I do love fireworks. Let's check this out. So set it up here. Here we go. Oh shit! Oh no! It's going to the crowd. Oh shit! Hell no! Get out of there. Or go to the water. Go to the water. Oh my God. Oh, hell no. I would have jumped in the water. Oh, hell no. Look at that. Look. Holy shit. It's attacking the people. Oh my God. Yo, I blame the Chinese. I think the Chinese did this. It was in the Taiwanese. I think the Chinese, they're setting you guys up. They attack you with their fireworks. Look at this shit. Look, I was flying through the crowd. Oh shit. Hell no, they're still standing there? Look! They're NPCs. Look, they're just standing there. Oh shit. No, I would be moving the fuck out of there. Oh, everybody was recording too. Look, they're just looking up like NPCs. Look, oh shit. And the guy's just standing there, look, with the phone. I use technology. Look, the guy's still standing there. You saw that shit? Hold on. We gotta come back over here. Hold on, we're not done with this. Look at this fool. This one right here. The one holding the cell phone. Okay? This is why technology is just ruining like us, like humans and our self-awareness. Let's go back. Let's here we go. Is it this one? Hold on. I don't think it's. Let me find it. Oh yeah, it is this guy. So let's he didn't even have his phone up at the time. So here we go. This guy right here. Keep your eyes on this guy. He does have his phone. I don't know if that's his phone right here. I'm not sure. However, he's holding it is not good, but just pay attention to this guy. And actually, you know what? We're gonna go slow-mo on this one. We haven't done slow-mo in a while. Let's go slow-mo. I cut out the sound, so let's see here. To play. All right, we're in slow-mo. Let's pay attention to this. All the people, but this guy right here, look, he puts up his phone, he's recording, and he's seeing the fireworks are coming, but he's not even really paying attention. Like, where is he? Where's his brain at? Look at all the other fireworks going all around. Look, one lands right here. Holy shit. Look, right here too, right behind him. Look, another one, like literally right behind him. And he's not even moving. He's not even paying attention. He's holding up his phone still, trying to record what's going on. Look, another one hit the tree. Where's the urgency? Where's the urgency? There's no urgency here. What is? Okay. Yep. The world is one big NPC. Okay. Melody King. Let's check this out.
Sean Diddy Combs won't be moving back to his Beverly Hills estate when he's released from federal prison in 2028. TMZ has learned the embattled hip-hop mogul's sprawling estate has finally been sold to a company linked to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky.
What?
The disgraced musician listed his Beverly Hills estate for $61.5 million in September 2024, roughly 6 months after it was ransacked by federal agents who found drugs and weapons, as well as more than 1,000 bottles of lube and baby oil. Combs' mansion, burdened by its reputation for hosting the rapper's allegedly drug-fueled freak-off parties, sat on the market for more than a year until it was quietly yanked from listings at the end of 2025. But in a plot twist nobody saw coming, the deed has now been signed, sealed, and delivered. TMZ acquired a copy of a deed signed by Tarek Brooks, Diddy's right-hand man, and Svitlana Pischanska, president of Aldorandi Ltd., a Cyprus-based company. According to Ukrainian media, Pischanska is a childhood friend of Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. She also manages some of his foreign assets. As for the bad boy founder himself, he's trading mansion life for a cell at the low-security federal prison in Fort Dix, New Jersey. His scheduled release date is May 2028. One thing's for sure, the freak-off era is over.
Fuck,
Is
man.
it over? Is he even in prison? I mean, it's
That's not prison.
outrageous.
That's not a
His entire
prison.
trial was a sham. It was a show trial. I told you that. Once I started combing through it and I saw they weren't really presenting
That's not
the
prison.
real evidence,
That's a
the
low
freak-off
level.
tapes. There was nobody else. There was
That's
no
not prison.
co-conspirators brought forth. Nothing ever happened to anyone else, and the charges were absolutely ridiculous that he finally was convicted of. Because I believe he's a Fed. He's part of it. He's part of the whole cabal.
Yeah, he is.
But
He's like an Epstein. Same
guys,
shit.
now he's in a minimum security facility.
Very
Just
minimum.
like Ghislaine Maxwell's at a minimum security facility. Just
Yep.
like Jeffrey Epstein deleted himself. Okay, but now
Yeah.
we've got to get into Zelensky. Zelensky has bought, allegedly, this is what this is saying, this is what the reports are
They
out,
protect their own.
bought Diddy's freak off mansion. That's what he did, guys. This is what, now we know where some of our that aid to Ukraine has gone. Well,
Yeah.
it seems to have gone
I
directly to
imagine.
Zelensky's pockets, because we've got to dig a little deeper, because if you don't
How did
know,
he make 28
well,
million?
Zelensky is all over
Where did he get
the
$28 million
Epstein files.
from?
Okay, so let's take a look at this.
He shouldn't be making that much as
Many
president
of you will
as Ukraine.
notice Marina Abramovich right there. But did you know this? Why did Zelensky, who was in the Epstein files, ask his close friend, yes, they are close friends, Marina Abramovich, to be ambassador to the top, I think it's supposed to say, to the top schools in Ukraine? Did you know that? It's the woman who hangs out with the Rothschilds, child traffickers and pedophiles, and creates satanic art which glorifies violence
I know
against
that.
children.
I know
You see that?
all that money Biden
Zelensky
gave to
asked
Ukraine. He
Marina
just kept it
Abramovich
for
to be
himself.
ambassador for
He's buying all these mansions
Ukraine.
and all this.
There
like,
are no words. In fact, let me
that
just try to
dude
pull this
should
up, because that
need
post
to be
wasn't really
prosecuted.
clear. But of course, Google
That guy
has
is no
summarized
fucking
this for
good.
me. It says in September of 2023,
I can't stand
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky invited Serbian performance artist Marina Abramovich to act as an ambassador for Ukraine. Her role? The purpose of the invitation is for Abramovich to assist in rebuilding schools and supporting children impacted by the ongoing war. This is going to get wild in a second when I show you what's in the Epstein files. The background. Abramovich, a vocal critic of the Russian invasion, previously expressed her support for Ukraine and has a history of working in the country. Wow, I didn't know that. Marina Abramovich has a history of working in Ukraine. And now, where there's a lot of orphans and displaced children, well, now she specifically will be working to rebuilding schools and
I don't
support
remember
the
her.
children who have been impacted. You guys remember Pizzagate? Of course, we talk about it all the time. Solidarity. In 2022, she restaged her performance piece, The Artist is Present, to raise funds for Ukraine. The move was part of Ukraine's broader effort to engage international figures in its humanitarian and rebuilding efforts, although the announcement drew some online discussion regarding her artistic background. No, not that she's a witch and she's doing spirit cooking and none of that. No, guys. Sorry, let me switch this. No, this is who's in charge of the schools, the orphans, and the rebuilding over there.
Yeah,
the
30
children.
million.
Is
but
this
there's-
not the
there's more. I
wildest
think it's more than
thing?
30.
Okay.
Listen, you can't trust her. You
Breaking.
can't trust
According
these
to the Epstein
Democrats.
files,
This is the problem.
Epstein was in
This is
Kyiv
all Democrat
and
issue.
helped Zelensky win the election. Did you know that? Did you guys know that? Let me pull it up for you. Okay, so this is from the Epstein files. I'm gonna make it bigger in a second, but I just want you to see this is from the files. Let me show you. Down there's the file number. It is EF. I can't
You
read.
can't say,
Okay,
"Oh,
let me
you're
make it
good
bigger.
at the stock market." You're
Okay,
not
so
as
the
good
file
as
number
Nancy
is
Pelosi.
EFT A01618698 if you want to go ahead and check that for yourself. Let's go ahead and read this. So it says, Ukraine looking for advice, not sure where to start. Mentally strong is the key to your recovery. Discipline, doing lots of things you don't want to do, taking some time to clear your head. Right into Larry Summers. We can discuss Ukraine. I know a little, having been number of times to Pinchuk conference and having helped push their debt relief during Jaresko time as PM. What? This is, or FM. Okay, I don't know what that's saying. Okay, and I believe this is Epstein replying. Epstein's in the blue. Zelensky looking for help. Putin dismissive, saying he is run by Israelis. Can you speak now? Jammed with caretakers. Can we do a late AM? No rush. Tomorrow best. Free to speak. But there's more, guys, because I want to show you this. So Epstein was in Kyiv during the election when Zelensky won, okay? And they're directly talking about this, but it goes deeper. It goes deeper. It says Zelensky is in the Epstein files, which we knew, but he and Epstein had lunch more than a few times. Interesting, because Epstein is meeting with a Rothschild during the mating coup to discuss the coup opportunities. So I'll just read this exchange, but then I have more. It says, we'll know this week. Let's check in on Thursday. Okay. Turji asks, or Taji, I think it's Turji asks, if you would come to dinner in Paris on the 20th with T to join. I can't do it. We're not going to do it today. In the Balkans on the 20th, arriving in the evening from Bosnia to Kosovo with a big delegation and media. I could do lunch on Sunday, the 16th. By the way, I'm visiting Zelensky this Thursday. I can do that. The lunch, let's do. Done, 2 p.m. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, this is where it gets interesting. Okay, look at this. So this is to Jeffrey Epstein from A.D. Rothschild. Hi, Jeff. Very long day sitting on bank board. Nibbers are okay, but not satisfactory to me. And I'm putting them under pressure to be more innovative about asset management funds while restructuring. I'm in a dinner with a client, fed up. I miss our talks and hope you're well. We'll be at home tomorrow night. Will you be free? And let's discuss Ukraine. What is the reply? I'll give you the bigger version. Jeffrey replies, Ukraine upheaval should provide many opportunities. Many. Because we know we're talking about money, but we also talking about children, because then I have this. So this is coming from Eurasia Daily. All right. And they actually asked me if I wanted to change the language on this from Polish to English, which I have done. You're not going to hear about any of this on the mainstream media. Zelensky appeared in Epstein files as a human trafficker. Zelensky, okay, this was reported by TASS in its Telegram channel. According to the agency, in the documents published in the United States in the case of the American financier Jeffrey Epstein, who is accused of child molestation, more than that, Vladimir Zelensky is mentioned in the context of trafficking in women and children from Ukraine. And one of the emails dated 2024, the author mentions Zelensky in the context of his possible involvement in the removal of women and children from Ukraine. The identity of the author of the letter and its addressee are not disclosed. The letter also suggests that Zelensky may have been involved with a modeling agent named Jean-Luc Brunel. Okay. Listen to this part because we haven't even dived into that, guys. This is a wild ride. In 2020, Brunel was accused of grape soda. I have to clean that up. Minors in France, after which he committed self-deletion in prison before sentencing. Just like Epstein, the year after Epstein did that to himself, allegedly, Jean-Luc Brunel, oh, well, then he did the same thing. I'm sure they're both burning in hell right now, or are they somewhere on a yacht enjoying themselves? He also wonders if Zelensky intends to stop human trafficking, including women and children, and wonders why the Ukrainian media do not cover this topic. Other references to Zelensky can be found in Epstein's files and in other sources, in other sources. And one of these documents, probably Epstein himself and Mirzalov Lajkak, child, who then held the post of Minister of Foreign Affairs of Slovakia and was chairman of the OSCE, discussed in correspondence in the Messenger the presidential elections in Ukraine held in 2019. Okay, now we're getting some clarification of those messages. Epstein emphasizes that the moment seems favorable for intervention. His interlocutor, yeah, I said it right. Sorry, there's a dash. I'm struggling today. Expresses doubts about the head of the Kyiv regime. I do not know if he is capable of leading the country. He's talking about Zelensky. Epstein points to the emergence of new, inexperienced participants who will need mentoring. In the documents, Zelensky's surname is mentioned at least several dozen times, depending on the transcription. It can be written in different ways. Most of these mentions are snippets of news articles that Epstein shared with people on his contact list. Some documents are currently unavailable. Okay, so he shared this. Zelensky, and this is one of the things from the files. Zelensky, in light of the trafficking that is occurring in Ukraine, set up by Jean-Luc Brunel, I want all your assets investigated at JP Morgan. Zelensky, what is this? It is blank. It says, One Mother Modeling Agency. I'm very aware how lucrative trafficking is, just as Jamie Dimon. I think it's Jamie Dimon. We all know what and who is involved, and I would like you, David, to explain why you and the attorneys averted in both Russia and Ukraine for victims to come forward. I don't even know. Guys, we can go down this rabbit hole. I can dig into it some more if you want me to. But I wanted to bring this to you because good grief, guys. I'm just putting up my my merch shop right here, but I'm just so disgusted right now. I'm just so disgusted by it all. But I want to remember to pull this out for you guys because this is a lot of work. And I don't want to get distracted. I want to go down the right rabbit trails. I hadn't even planned on going through this, but the fact that Zelensky just bought for, what is it, 60 million, 65 million? We saw just bought Diddy's, or alleged he bought it. The person who manages his financial assets, his foreign financial assets, bought the Diddy freak off mansion. When I tell you we're in a spiritual battle, when they tell you that presidents are selected and not elected, now you see that Jeffrey Epstein himself, the Rothschilds, having a hand in getting Zelensky put in as president in a coup. And then when you look at this and you realize as well, when they're saying there's many opportunities, then you look at what Marina Abramovich being brought in to help children to be directly tied to the schools. When all of this trafficking, all the things with Pizzagate, guys, it is a cluster. We are in a spiritual battle. When I tell you the layers are so deep, and this is why we have got to just make sure that our spiritual eyes are open. And that's one reason I want to highlight this shirt again. This is my Yahweh collection. You guys are loving this one. Yahweh, it says, every breath speaks his name. There it is right there. Now I have it for men and women. I have different versions of this shirt. And of course, I have it front and back. And this is one way you can support me over at realmelanyking.com with my custom designs. This is one way that I'm able to, keep this work going. There's a lot of demonetization. There's a lot of things that they don't want me to put out. I'll have to put things on
I need to buy
Patreon that I
It's
recently had to.
$32.
And sometimes I try to put it up for members, but I can't because the YouTube companies.
I definitely need to buy one for sure. Okay, let me see if there's any anything breaking. If not, then we're gonna go to the two last videos for the night. Give me 1 sec. I'm gonna do some check-in. I hope everyone's having a good evening and a good night or morning, where you guys are at. Is there anything breaking? I mean, we do have a Benny Johnson here talking about the Tucker, which Israel responds to detention, interrogation of Tucker Carlson. Yeah, we definitely gonna need to add that on. I just would like to know. Actually, I'm gonna make that next. Give me 1 second to set it up. I'm just. I want to know. I want to know what happened to Tucker, our boy Tucker. They put him behind bars. Oh no! You can't trust the Israelis. You know this, Tucker. They don't. You can't put your trust on these people. And why would you go over there in the first place? You know what I mean? Fuck that. All right, here we go. They put him in jail. Oh, Israeli jail.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. People are sharing photoshops of Tucker Carlson as Greta Thunberg and claiming that he is Tucker Smollett because of conflicting reports of Tucker's detention and interrogation by the government authorities in Israel when Tucker Carlson traveled to Israel today for a couple of hours. And we're going to talk about all of it right now. And I want to just begin by saying I'm a big fan of Tucker. And I like Tucker a lot. He was my former boss. He's somebody who's been nothing but a friend to me. He's someone who, I've learned a lot from, quite frankly. And I have an obligation on this channel to just show you the conversation that's being had, because this is the potential to become an international incident with Tucker Carlson. And we reported to you immediately that Tucker Carlson was detained in Israel and was questioned by the authorities. That's what Tucker Carlson called the Daily Mail and said. But now we have the whole of the nation of Israel, I mean, literally everyone, coming over, memeing Tucker, like government officials memeing Tucker, and it's gone crazy. Everything's gone crazy. Tucker Carlson is now being called out by the airports and the ambassadors, and you deserve to know all about it so that you can be informed. That's right. So this is not a Tucker Carlson hate post at all, but this is clearly going to become a bigger thing. So you should know what both sides are saying. So Tucker Carlson obviously has been saying for a long time that Israel is a corrupt state. He doesn't like, he vehemently disagrees with Israel, the Gaza war. Benjamin Netanyahu thinks that Epstein was obviously working for Israel to commit crimes on behalf of Israel on American soil. That's what Tucker has said. Tucker Carlson has called out the ambassador from the United States to Israel, Mike Huckabee, for meeting with a scumbag spy. This is one of the worst things you can do. He met with Jonathan Pollard, who was a spy on behalf of the state of Israel, handed over millions of documents, top secret documents, to the state of Israel, betrayed our country in the worst intel leak in American history, actually. And Ambassador Mike Huckabee met with him. Ambassador Mike Huckabee should have been ripped and immediately forced to resign from his post. And I have said that, and I will never apologize for that. Tucker Carlson called him out on it and then agreed to do an interview with Mike Huckabee as long as Tucker could get to Israel. That's where Mike Huckabee lives. He's the ambassador to Israel. Mike Huckabee asked Tucker Carlson to come talk to me, says Mike Huckabee. Why are you afraid of the light? And Tucker says, I'm going to come to Israel. And then Tucker showed up in Israel. There's Tucker Carlson standing at what we now know to be the airport in Israel. That would explain these barbed wire fences, kind of airport looking fences here. It looks like Tucker's about to get into a motorcade. That's what that looks like. And these are the Israeli flags here. Okay. So this is Tucker, and he says, "Greetings from Israel," is what Tucker says. And, millions of people saw this. And it's quite a ratio, actually, 5,000 comments. So anyway, upon leaving Israel, Tucker Carlson called the Daily Mail and said, "I have been detained, and I was questioned, dragged into an interrogation room, and questioned about what my interview with Mike Huckabee was all about." He says that Israeli government officials dragged him and his staff. It was bizarre. We're now out of the country, says Tucker. He says, "Men who identified themselves as airport security took our passports, hauled our executive producers into the side room, and demanded to know what we spoke to the ambassador about," which is like crazy, like very bad look. You shouldn't be doing this to an American journalist. Many people are saying, they criticize Tucker for not leaving the airport. Tucker was only in Israel for a couple hours. And people are saying Tucker didn't leave because he would have been killed, in Israel. And other people, obviously, MTG is saying, American citizen journalist Tucker Carlson detained in Israel for trying to interview an American ambassador. "We won't tolerate this. You've made it worse." And then people are calling him Tucker Carlson, right? Okay. Here's a breakdown of a former ambassador, the former U.S. ambassador. So this is the response to Tucker Carlson's claims. That's the walkway to the private jet terminal, VIP entry. After the Western Wall, Temple Mount, City of David, Church of the Holy Sepulchre, Garden of Gethsemane, Sea of Galilee, Knesset, 2 million other places. This walkway is an important site, but only if you fly in private jets. Too bad Tucker Carlson stayed at the airport in the face of so many invitations to so many wonderful places, a huge, obvious international missed opportunity. Okay. So people are criticizing him for not leaving the airport. I don't know. Can't blame the guy. He takes his security obviously very seriously. Now, Mike Huckabee's office has responded and said this. A source familiar told me that Carlson and his producers were not questioned at all. Security questioned the crew members who arrived the day before about their stay in Israel, completely standard procedure, and then the passengers boarded the plane off to their destination. And then other people are saying, this exact scenario happened to me and my film crew when we were in and out of Israel. Okay, here we go. Naftali Bennett, this is the former prime minister. Tucker Carlson is a chicken shit, is what he says. Goodness. Okay. The guy who's been spouting lies about Israel for the past 2 years landed today at Ben Gurion. A quick procedure to the logistics zones, tweeted it to pretend like he's actually in Israel so he could later claim that he's a serious reporter who toured Israel, but not even stepped foot in the country. Then he made up a story about being supposedly harassed by our security. That didn't happen. Whined about it and got back in his private jet and flew off. Next time he talks about Israel as if he's some expert, just remember this guy is a phony. All right. That's a former prime minister. Wouldn't leave the airport. Again, Tucker Carlson claims he was detained, but ambassador said it was a routine customs check. Listen, I've flown to international countries. But you virtually always get questioned. I'm not saying this isn't what happened to Tucker. I'm just saying, well, it is standard procedure to question people. Were they more aggressive with Tucker Carlson? Maybe they should release the footage. There's cameras all over these airports, right? Release the footage. Israeli Airport Authority, contrary to report, this is the official Israeli Airport Authority. This was tweeted, Hebrew and everything like that. Here's the account. The official account, verified account. All right. So here's what they say. This is like the airports talking here. Contrary to the publications, Tucker Carlson and his entourage were not arrested, not delayed, not interrogated. Mr. Carlson and members of his entourage were politely asked a few routine questions in accordance with the standard procedures that are applied at the time to many passengers. The conversation took place in a VIP lounge in a separate room solely for the purpose of protecting the privacy and to avoid holding it in the presence of other passengers. No unusual incident occurred, and the Israeli Airport Authority strongly rejects any other claim to the matter. Contrary to the reports, Tucker Carlson was not detained, delayed, or interrogated. Okay. That's what they say. So I guess now is a question of who do you believe? Clearly, all this stuff is on camera. Tucker Carlson is going to have a chance to publish this interview, and presumably, maybe he was being filmed at the airport. Publish that too, obviously. Okay.
Don't trust
Ambassador Mike Huckabee is thanking the Daily Mail for updating their report with statements from the ambassador, who says that everyone who comes in and out of Israel has passports checked and asked security questions me going in and out with a diplomatic passport and visa is what they say. Okay. So again, the airport authority, the Israeli foreign ministry. So it kind of depends on like, who do you believe here? Here's a former ambassador to the United Nations. Tucker Carlson is a coward and a liar. He built a whole brand off criticizing Israel. He finally visits. He refuses to even leave the airport. 1 hour on the tarmac. He knows seeing the truth in Israel would ruin his propaganda. He behaves like an agent for radical Muslims. I'm in Nashville today, where the bond between faith is unbreakable. No one could be further from Tucker's lies. Thoughts and prayers now with Tucker Carlson as he reported on being attacked from his private jet. 2 men who shouted racial and homophobic slurs, poured bleach on him, and put a noose around his neck yelling, "This is MAGA country." So people are saying that he's Tucker Smollett. That's what they're saying. Or Tucker Thunberg. Remember, Greta Thunberg says that she was, arrested.
I trust
Israel.
Tucker more than I
released these photos of her
Greta.
smiling with a sandwich. So there it is.
Yeah, I
On a
wonder
hate
if they
post,
give him a sandwich.
Just giving you both sides. All right. So I like what I want here is like release the proof of what happened. That's what you got to do. And I'm really looking forward to Tucker Carlson's, and no matter what this is, looking forward to Tucker Carlson's interview with Ambassador Huckabee. That's going to be wild. Because Ambassador Huckabee, as I've said many times, deserves to be fired for meeting with filthy traitors and spies. That is a fact. It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. See ya.
There you go. I don't trust them over there. Like I said, they betrayed Jesus, and now they're like, oh my God, yes, these are his grounds. This is where he was at, and worship and worship. But your people gave him up to the Romans. Why would you do that? And now you're like, no, you have to protect us because he walked through here. He's been here. He studied here. We have to protect us here. The gig is up. Pretty soon, your time is up. Like, the whole world needs an enema. So let's go ahead and go to the last 2 shows of the night. And that's going to Tyson De La Cruz. So let's go ahead and set this up. And let's watch and enjoy.
From the I-Team, a major development in the federal corruption probe into former Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao and the owners of California Waste Solutions.
America, we've been following the Oakland corruption case for months, and the other day, the first domino just fell. Former San Leandro City Council member Brian Azevedo walked into federal court and pled guilty to honest service fraud.
A San Leandro City Council member is now facing federal charges in connection with the FBI investigation into former Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao.
Azevedo isn't just pleading guilty, he's cooperating. He's the first person in this entire East Bay corruption ring to flip. And his sentencing hearing isn't until December 3rd, 2026, which means he's got almost a year to tell federal prosecutors everything he knows about the DeWong family and their California Waste Solutions empire.
Who are the Dongs and how are they connected to Mayor Tao?
The DeWong family, David and Andy DeWong, own California Waste Solutions, Oakland's official recycling collector. They're worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And according to federal prosecutors, they've been running a pay-to-play scheme across the entire East Bay for years. Azevedo just became their worst nightmare. What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz here. Thank you so much for rocking with me. Let me take you back to where this whole scheme started because the federal indictment lays it out like a crime novel here. Summer 2023, Brian Azevedo gets invited to a 10-day luxury trip to Vietnam. All expenses paid for, business class airfare, 5-star hotels, meals, everything all covered.
Did he try to help the owners of California Waste Solutions, David and Andy DeWong, with their side business, Evolutionary Homes, that converted shipping containers to housing for the homeless? Did he try to hook the city of San Leandro as a customer?
Was there some arrangement between you and the DeWongs in terms of, we'll give you a percentage
if you sell X number of units.
Who paid for it? The Vietnamese American Business Association, which is controlled by the Duong family. This wasn't a cultural exchange here, guys. This was a recruitment trip. The Duongs were identifying which politicians could be bought. And Brian Azevedo took the bait. According to his plea agreement, after he got back from Vietnam, he had a meeting with two individuals identified as co-conspirator 1 and co-conspirator 2. Now, the indictment doesn't name them, but we know from the investigation that these are David and Andy Duong.
The Duong family, they are the family that owns and operates Cal Waste Solutions. They have built a legacy here in the Bay Area and in Vietnam, where they fled from.
FBI agents and the IRS raided California Waste Solutions office on Embarcadero in Oakland. The recycling company's office is located on the 3rd floor, and the Vietnamese American Business Association, or VABA, is just below it. Several people confirm VABA was also raided by federal agents today.
Very surprising because, all these companies doing good for the community. Trying to have recycling going on and clean up the mess that we have.
Cal Waste Solutions is owned and operated by the Duong family, whose journey to the Bay Area was detailed in an earlier CBS News Bay Area story.
Saigon is we call home, but our heart is here.
Here's what they agreed to do. Brian Azevedo would use his official position to advocate for the Duong's new company that they were launching, Evolutionary Homes, which converts shipping containers into modular housing for the homeless. He pushed other San Loreno officials to buy the units. He'd vote for policies that benefited the company, and in exchange, he'd get a percentage of every sale. This, my friends, is textbook what they call honest service fraud. You're depriving the public of your honest service as an elected official by taking bribes to benefit a private company and yourself. Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because the Duongs didn't just hand Azevedo cash in a parking lot in a white envelope. They had a system for hiding these particular bribes, and this detail is buried in the plea agreement, which means most news outlets won't even mention it. The Duongs told Azevedo to open an LLC in, get this, his wife's name, then open up a bank account under that particular LLC. That way, when the kickback payments came through, they wouldn't be directly traceable to Brian Azevedo. It would look like a legitimate business transaction to his wife's company. And here's the kicker. David Duong told Azevedo that he had concealed payments this way with other politicians. This, my friends, was not their first rodeo. They had a playbook for corrupting public officials, and they'd used it before.
I don't remember nothing, no. For you to say, I don't remember, is not going to look good for people. I mean, clearly, I don't want to comment on that because there was no arrangement on that.
Remember when reporters first asked Azevedo about this particular arrangement? I don't remember nothing. That's what he said. Now he's admitting under oath that yes, indeed, he did remember something. He set up an LLC and yes, he took the money. While San Loreno never actually purchased any housing units from Evolutionary Homes, the Duongs still gave Azevedo $2,000 in cash to fund that particular bank account. That is a down payment of future corruption. That's seed money for a bribery scheme. Now, let me show you what Azevedo actually did to earn this bribe, because this is where the honest service fraud becomes super real. Between August 2023 and June 2024, Azevedo took several official actions to benefit Evolutionary Homes and the Duongs.
On the conspiracy charge, Azevedo could face 20 years in prison and a $250,000 fine. For false statements to the FBI, he could receive 5 years in prison and another $250,000 fine.
First, on June 17, 2024, during a city council meeting, Azevedo voted in favor of emergency shelter ordinance, exactly as the Duong purchased modular housing units like the ones Evolutionary Homes was selling. Then he advocated for it and other members of San Loreno city government. He wasn't just voting here, he was lobbying to his colleagues or units. He acted as a salesman for Evolutionary Homes while serving as a city councilman. He was using his official position for San Loreno to purchase units from the Duong's company. He was pushing the city to spend taxpayer money on a company that was paying him kickbacks.
Our media partners at the Bay Area News Group report federal officials have asked the city to hand over numerous records that name the Duong family.
They're building a case that goes beyond Brian Azevedo. They're mapping out entire corruption networks here. Now, if Azevedo just admitted to the bribery scheme when the FBI showed up initially, he might have gotten a lighter sentence, but unfortunately he didn't. He lied, and lying to federal agents is a separate felony. In January 2025, FBI agents executed a search warrant of Azevedo's home. During that search, Azevedo sat for a voluntary interview, and he told agents 2 specific lies.
Get out of your house with your hands up.
Last April, San Leandro council member Brian Azevedo described the FBI raid at his house.
First, he said co-conspirator 1 never provided him with cash. That was obviously a lie. He'd already received the $2,000 to fund the LLC bank account. Second, he said that co-conspirator 1's family did not have any business interests before the city of San Loreno. That was also a lie. Evolutionary Homes was actively selling modular housing units to the city, and Azevedo was helping him with that. So now Mr. I Don't Know Nothing is facing 2 felony counts. 1, conspiracy to commit honest service fraud. That's 20 years max, $250,000 fine. And making false statements to federal investigators. 5-year max sentence, $250,000 fine. But here's the key. His sentencing hearing isn't until December 3rd, 2026. Why? Because he's cooperating. He's telling prosecutors
December
everything
3rd,
he knows about the Duong
2026.
family's corruption network.
So,
And the
December.
longer that he cooperates, the lighter his potential sentence might be. Now, let me show you who Azevedo is cooperating against, because the Duong family is a small-time operation. They're a political dynasty with connections at every level of government.
Well, the company owns the recycling company Cal Waste Solutions, Oakland's official recycling collector. This is a photo of the family from the Cal Waste website. Siblings David, the CEO, Christina, CFO, and Victor, vice president. In 2017, the city of Oakland sued Cal Waste for overcharging customers by about $6 million.
They were forced to refund about 2,000 multifamily building owners. But that didn't stop them. They kept operating. They kept making the money. They kept pocketing the cash. They kept building political connections.
Andy Duong's Instagram also shows him standing side by side with some of the country's most powerful politicians, including President Joe Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris.
These aren't just photo ops. These are relationships. The Duongs have cultivated political power for decades.
In 2019, the Oakland Public Ethics Commission launched an investigation into allegations that Cal Waste had been funneling illegal campaign contributions to these 5 city council candidates.
This is a pattern. The recycling monopoly to generate massive amounts of revenue. Use that revenue to make campaign contributions. Use politicians, and then they use that influence to get government contracts and policies. It is a self-perpetuating machine. Prosecutors the roadmap to dismantle it. Now here's where it gets really big, because Azevedo's case isn't isolated. It's connected to former Oakland Mayor Sheng Tao's investigation.
Recalled Mayor of Oakland, Sheng Tao, was arraigned in federal court where she pleaded not guilty. Our cameras were there this morning as she turned herself in ahead of the announcement from the federal prosecutors. They accuse her of a bribery scheme that includes her longtime partner, Andre Jones, and the prominent Duong family.
Sheng Tao was indicted on federal corruption charges for a bribery scheme that includes her longtime partner, Andre Jones, and, you guessed it, the Duong family, the same family that corrupted Azevedo, the same family that runs California Waste Solutions. According to prosecutors, Tao promised to end California Ocean's contract with Oakland. She promised to purchase housing units from Evolutionary Homes. She promised to use her influence to appoint city officials who benefit from the Duong's business interests. And in exchange, the Duongs allegedly provided $95,000 in payments towards a promised sum of $300,000. They also funded a $75,000 mailer campaign on behalf of Sheng Tao during her election.
And I want to be crystal clear. I have done nothing wrong. I can tell you with confidence that this investigation is not about me.
She was wrong. It is about her. And now she's facing the same honest service charges that Azevedo pled guilty to. The difference, Azevedo is cooperating. Shane Tao is fighting, and Azevedo's testimony is going to be devastating to her defense. Azevedo just became the first domino to fall in Oakland's corruption empire. Guilty of service fraud for taking bribes from the DeWong family. He voted for politicians that benefited their company. He lied to the FBI. Now he's cooperating because prosecutors need him to testify against the DeWong and Shang Tao. He's the Rosetta Stone that decodes how California Waste Solutions corrupted the entire East Bay. The DeWong have photos with Joe Biden, Harris, and Newscomb. They've been funneling illegal kids and build political dynasties on taxpayer dollars. And Azevedo just handed prosecutors the blueprint to take them down. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
Thank you for that upload. Now, let's go to the last video of the night. I believe, let me check. Let me double check. Make sure there's nothing crazy going on. You always got to be, always got to be checking. You never know. Something may pop off, and it happens that way sometimes. But so far, everything looks okay for right now. All right, so it's good. It's a go for ending the show. So let's set up the next one here, and let's watch Tyson, the cruise.
When do 84% of Americans agree on anything? This is common sense.
America, there's one issue where 84% of Americans agree. The issue?
Latest polling shows that 83% of Americans support requiring a photo ID to vote, including more than 70% of Democrat-leaning voters.
Requiring a photo ID to vote, something you need to buy alcohol, board a plane, or pick up a prescription. But Democrats call it Jim Crow 2.0.
Let's admit the truth. Everywhere people go, they're asked for a social security card. In fact, one way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a social security card.
But now that Trump wants it, suddenly it's voter suppression. Let me show you the hypocrisy.
Oh, that's crazy, man. What are we doing?
What is up, guys? Tyson De La Cruz
What is
here.
the
Thank
Democrats
you so much
are doing?
for rocking with me. Let me start with the numbers because this is the most bipartisan issue in America right now.
76% of Black Americans support it, 82% of Latino Americans support it, and 84% of the American people support photo voter ID. When do 84% of Americans agree on anything?
My friends, it is common sense. It is a common sense issue, and yet Democrats are blocking it in the Senate.
Critics warn this could throw up new barriers for millions of Americans, including low-income voters, the elderly, students, and women who have changed their names after marriage.
And here's their argument. Voter ID creates barriers for low-income voters, the elderly, students, and women who changed their names. What?
Each state's voting laws are different, but 36 states already require some sort of ID to vote. 14 states and DC don't require ID documents.
So 36 states have figured it out, but Democrats claim that it's impossible or voters are too stupid. They say requiring ID is racist. But when you ask them to explain how is it racist, they can't obviously answer the question. Now, let me show you the most blatant hypocrisy in this entire debate. Chucky Chuck Schumer, our friend Chucky Chuck Schumer, the current Senate Majority Leader, was for voter ID in the 1990s. Not just for it, but he championed it.
One way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a social security card. This is an anti-fraud amendment. All over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud.
If you listen to good old Chucky Chuck, this is an anti-fraud amendment. He's saying people are getting jobs and benefits illegally because there's no ID requirement. And his solution, require ID. That was his position in the 1990s.
Let's admit the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Everywhere people go, they're asked for a social security card. In fact, one way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a social security card. This is an anti-fraud amendment.
And now Chucky Chuck is blocking the SAVE Act, which requires photo ID and proof of citizenship to vote. He says it's Jim Crow 2.0 and will prevent 20 million people from voting. But he supported the exact same thing 30 years ago. So what
happened to
changed?
the Democrats?
Oh, that's right. Trump changed your mind. That's it. Trump supports voter ID, so Schumer opposes it. It's not about policy. It's not about protecting voters. It is simply opposing Trump no matter what.
They make it so hard to get any kind of voter ID that more than 20 million legitimate people, mainly poorer people and people of color, will not be able to vote under this law. They don't want people of color to vote because they often don't vote for them.
And notice this argument. He claims Republicans don't want people of color to vote, but 76% of Black Americans support voter ID. So simply Schumer is saying that Black voters don't know what's good for them, because it sounds pretty condescending to me. Now, guys, let me show you the most brilliant demonstration of Democrat hypocrisy that I have seen in a while. A creator by the name of Josh Setter. Check him out. Shout out to Josh Setter. He's on TikTok and Instagram, does these kind of undercover expose parodies. Check it out.
I like it in here. This is a cool store. You got have you been, I don't know what's going on back there. That threw me off. Have you been watching the news lately?
No.
They're trying to make people show their IDs to vote. Do you think that's racist?
Yeah, they're tripping.
I agree. Can I get the hitter, the purple one, and then the bong?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
You got some ID?
This guy exposes entire systems and how Democrats typically think. He dresses up in this parody outfits and calls it for what it is and makes them sound completely stupid. Now, Democrats say that this is voter suppression to require ID to vote. But here's the thing. You need ID for almost everything else in your entire life. You need ID to buy alcohol. You need ID to buy cigarettes, board a plane, pick up a prescription, open up a bank account, rent an apartment, get a job, drive a car. But somehow, miraculously, requiring ID to vote is racist. That is their argument, that Black Americans and Latinos are capable of getting IDs for all those other things, but voting is too complicated. Democrats and people opposing this, that is not protecting voters. That is insulting them. Now, let me tell you the real reason that Democrats are opposing voter ID. And I'm going to be pretty blunt about this. It isn't about protecting voters. It's about protecting their ability to win elections.
The flyer talks about how illegals can vote in Washington, D.C. for a number of positions, like the mayor, like the attorney general. Do you have any evidence that illegals are actually voting in our elections?
Well, they are absolutely going to be voting in the Washington, D.C. elections, in those local elections. They're being recruited to vote.
Obviously, this video was posted about a year ago, but it's still relevant today. By federal law, if you sign someone up for Medicaid, you have to offer them voter registration. So there's built-in incentive to sign them up as many people as possible for the government benefits, because it also registers them to vote. And if you don't require proof of citizenship, you're creating a system where non-citizens can register. Maybe they don't vote, maybe they do, but the system makes it completely possible. And Democrats benefit from that particular uncertainty.
Now, President Trump hinting at a potential executive order posted on Truth Social that there will be voter ID for midterm elections, whether approved by Congress or not.
And that's why Trump is threatening an executive order, saying if Congress won't pass the SAVE Act, he'll require registered ID through executive action. And Democrats are losing their mind, obviously, about this, because they know what this means. They will lose their advantage.
If Republican senators do not pass the SAVE Act, you are not only going to be retiring members of your House colleagues, they are going to lose their seats and very likely the majority, but we are likely to lose the Alaska Senate seat. We are likely to lose perhaps Maine if we don't pass the Save America Act, and we are likely to lose North Carolina.
And Scott Pressler warned Republicans, if you don't pass this, you're going to lose seats because voters want election integrity. They want to know that only citizens are voting. If Republicans don't deliver that, voters, they will stay home. Let's bring this home with the simplest argument possible. Requiring voter ID is common sense. It's not complicated. It's not racist. It's basic election integrity.
Nonprofit Headcount helps register young people to vote at concerts or music festivals and says that the act will make it more difficult for Americans to vote.
There are about 69 million Americans who do not have ready access to their birth certificate.
But here's the thing. If you don't have access to your birth certificate, how are you doing anything else in life? How are you working? How are you banking? How are you renting an apartment?
You need to go get
the
it.
answer is you figure it out. You
Go
get
to
the
the
documents
hospital
you
and
need
get it.
because this is what adults do. Adults do adult things. And if
They
you're going to
gotta
treat
go
voting as a sacred right, which it is, then you should treat it
That is
seriously
your
enough to
problem.
verify
That's
that
your
the people are
responsibility.
voting
I
are
have my
actually
birth certificate.
citizens.
This is common sense. 76% of Black Americans support it, 82% of Latino Americans support it, and 84% of the American people support photo voter ID. When do 84% of Americans agree on anything?
You can't even agree on pizza toppings. You can't even agree on what
Damn,
movie to watch on
84%.
Netflix. But
They
everyone
didn't
seems
ask
to
me, so it's a
agree
lot
on
higher
this.
than
The
that.
only people standing in the way
Probably
are
around in the
politicians
90s.
who benefit from the current broken system. America, 84% of Americans support voter ID. That includes 76% of Black Americans and 82% of Latinos. 36 states already require some form of ID to vote. Chuck Schumer supported voter ID in the 1990s, but now calls it Jim Crow 2.0 because Trump supports it. And Trump is threatening an executive because Congress won't act. This isn't complicated. You need ID to buy a beer, board a plane, pick up a prescription. Requiring ID isn't racist. My friends, it is common sense. And the only reason politicians should listen, but Democrats won't, because this isn't about protecting voters. It's about protecting their base. Let me know what you think about this. Drop it down in the comment section down below. Smash the like button if you kindly would. Share, subscribe, and as always, guys, I'll catch you on the next one.
There we go. Yes. That was awesome. All right, guys, I got to get going. I got to run. So thank you for everyone watching. I truly appreciate you guys so much. It's going to be a little hard out. So have a good morning, good afternoon, and a good night. And I'll catch you on the flip side. I'll be back on here tomorrow around 7:30, maybe a little earlier. You'll see how I feel. Until then, have a good one, everyone. Peace.